the technical difficulties. We're going to be right back in game number 2 for lobby number A in the quarterfinals here in the Motorverse Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunate little crash, but it happens every once in a while. Just I'll need to bug you for a feed here, Paz, when you have the opportunity. But it was getting pretty dicey there. It looked like Fox Spirit still had full control of the lobby overall, but in terms of the midfield and everywhere else, it was still pretty competitive.
Yes, sir. Fox Spirit, I would assume, is still on the win streak, as he always is. We're gonna jump right back into it and see how it goes. There we go. Let's swap over to the live feed and see where we stand after these 5 minutes of interruption. There we go. Oh my god, Fox Spirit is 30 points. Okay, never mind. I'm sharing everything with you now, and we should be good to go.
There we go. Now we're talking. So yeah, damn. Unfortunately, that was apparently a rather exciting 5 minutes. That is kind of crazy. We did end up losing Dragon Yen in the process. We did see them having at least a little bit of a hard time, and it looks like it unfortunately just did not necessarily turn around for them. Again, we see this battle in progress. We do see Amafishy and Okacho looking like they're going to be leading the charge as of right now. We're seeing Six Fire once again, seeming to do quite a good job here. Amafishy piloting that rather nicely. Then we do have Nocacho making it all the way up to second, but they are going to take the loss here. We're seeing that nobody has true full control over this lobby if you can drop from second to fifth in such quick succession.
Yes, it's a huge upset here, seeing that Amafishy suddenly took completely over. Fox Spirit still seems to be stabilized, won his last round here and 30 HP. But Not Complaining is on a big win streak as well. Let's see what they are playing. Fox Spirit was able to get the Umber with 3 augments on him and is looking pretty strong. And we have double 7 fire here for the top players, which will be going up against each other. 6 fires.
Yeah, so this is a little bit awkward. We see a little bit of a race for the Seer, because now that the Inferno Arcanite side of things are here, we can kind of assume that the race for the Scoriox is a little bit awkward, but now the race is for Behemoth. We do see, as of this moment, it looks like Not Complain actually going to end up winning that one. They found the Seer. We see a dead center there fighting the other Singe. So they got the fully evolved variants compared to what we're seeing here with Amafishy. And beautiful job there from the Arctase and the Tiruro to dive on through, take care of the Furiox. A little bit of a four-cornered battle here as there's just constantly shots from all angles, it looks like. But the double Arctase alongside the Polar Bear going to be enough for Not Complain to hold the line rather nicely. Big adjustments compared to last week, and I love what I'm seeing.
Yes, sir. You love to see it. It's gonna be a crazy final moment here. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how the players will do here in the late game. Not Complain is going to hold on to his win streak. Amafishy at 40. And
we do lose Squawk in the meantime here as well. Going to end up falling out of this lobby here in 6. Nocacho short to fall. But the one player I'm sure a lot of our chat is actually kind of looking into as well, Bond Daddy Ratty. One of the players that's definitely been around the longest. We kind of seen, oddly enough, in between the break there, we saw the website they made to assist in everyday Illuvium practice, the Ratty data, of course. They just picked up a major upgrade for their Mystic squad. Titanor is here, the big fully evolved beetle, the best tank in the game. Of course, being able to stun everything in a line in front of it, or in regards to whatever ends up being the alluvial furthest away from it. And that team is built to try and tank, but with there being 2 teams here with Amafishy and Not Complain, built on full firepower, I wonder how that's going to end up holding up. And we're going to see Fox Spirit versus Nocacho. This could potentially be a kill shot if Nocacho is not careful.
Yes, sir. We got 5 HP on Nocacho. We got 19 on Daddy Ready. Great shout out there, because I sponsored, I think, Snooty Boo's deck. Like, I sent it over to rent it to him for free because we had to supply those streamers with some decks. And because of his homepage, Ready Data, I was able to bulk transfer 100 Illuvials at a time and didn't have to do it one by one. which was an absolute lifesaver. So big shout out to him and thank you for this great tool.
Definitely saves my bacon every week for House League as well. But one thing that's a little bit rough here in the back line, that Sinoff just had a field day taking care of No Catcher's back line there. The Umber as well, just having all the time in the world. Granted, it's a little bit low on HP, but now it just has to take on 2 tanks. It'll gladly just sit around and wait to take care of that one, which means we are unfortunately here for No Catcher. Going to see them out of here in 5th place in this lobby.
And we are back to standard. Fox Spirit in the first. As soon as we watch, he's winning. As soon as we turned out, it was something else going on. But it looks very similar to where we left off. And I think the only unit or the only thing missing here for Fox Spirit is lifesteal on the Umber. If he can, because he didn't get lifesteal on the augments, I believe. So if he's able to somehow get lifesteal on the Umber, that's going to change a lot. But right now, it's just full damage for the Umber, which we'll see if he can get through the rock that is called Titan ore.
Yeah, and unfortunately, though, while that Titan ore might be an absolute rock, absolute unit, one of the units that Bondaddy Ruddy would want, Fox Spirit is having right there in front of him. That Geyser would be the 3rd Mystic to the squad and allowing for additional damage and damage reduction. But it's going to be for naught. It's going to be going up against them. Titan ore holding the line very nicely as of this moment. Where is the Umber, though? In the left-hand corner, Sinoff getting some serious damage onto this bunker as well, but it is going to proc the Mystic buff. They'll allow for additional damage buffs and reduction. It's going to be a close one. It's down to Umber. Oh, God, we've seen this before. It might be a 1-on-5, but you cannot count out this damn Thylacine. There it goes at half HP. Going to be able to get the job done. Does that knock out Bondaddy Ratty? It does, but we lose Not Complain as well. So Bondaddy Ratty going to finish in 3rd, Not Complain in 4th.
Oh my God. As close as it gets, Not Complain is out. Still top 4, so that's good for him, scooping up some valuable points. But Daddy Ratty will be very happy about 3rd place, just getting him before Not Complain and getting even more points. Titan ore was not able to get into the late game, because if we look at Amafishy here, he has not only 1 tier 5 stage 3, he has 2 Rampfire and the Phosphorus with a Scoriox on the side as well. This is gonna look devastating, I think, for the team of Fox Spirit if that Rampfire gets a good Omega in, but it only hits the Gazier, which is gonna fall in the end, and it's gonna be all down to this Umber versus this Ramp fight. Who can take it in the end? And Umber without the lifesteal is just not able to recuperate any of that health, and the Inferno slowly burns him down.
I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about the change that we did see a couple patches ago. Umber no longer going untargetable. It gets dodge on Omega instead. And of course, with dodge, it does not actually take abilities into account. So Rampfire can drop that Infernal Skyfall directly on its noggin, and it's not going to know any better. It's going to be knocked out. So a very, very close one. Fox Spirit, I'm a fishy. I mean, this is potentially the last battle.
Yes, sir. Let's see how that one goes. It's gonna be a tough one for both sides. They are praying that their units will come out on top. The 3 Steam versus the 3 Inferno. Here the Umber is gonna get focused by the Phosphorus in the top left corner. Is gonna be able to pull through, but now the Inferno is ticking. There's no lifesteal, and there is only 1 Rampfire left on the board, which will take the victory here against Fox Spirit, and Amafishy takes victory in game number 2 here in the quarterfinals.
A very, very close one, but unfortunately there for Fox Spirit, they get the upgrade, they get the fully evolved dual F. That, of course, is a fantastic additional alluvial, bringing steam and bringing a ton of additional damage. Fully evolved tier 5. Problem was, though, in that fight, it was sitting still within range of that Rampfire's Omega, and it just took way too much damage. It got maybe 1 Omega off before it even had the chance to fire off a second cast, so it did not get as much value as it could have. And with that, we are going to see Fox Spirit, and does end up going down. They had a very dominating early game in that one, but I'm still going to assume that they're not going to be disappointed with the second place finish. But good on I'm a Fishy, of course, one of the players that we haven't really seen since the Illuvium Pro League, but was very good with, for the longest time, was, I think, the points leader in the Illuvium Pro League during the regular season prior to the final event. And we're seeing, even though ownership is a thing, you need to go out and catch and find your own alluvials, they're still adapting just fine.
Yes, sir. A little bit of a redemption arc coming through here for Amafishy, and I I just love Ramfire. And I'm also a big fan of Phosphorus, so it's just lovely to see Ramfire here win a round. One of my, or the favorite Illuvial for me. It took me so long to find it in the open world, and I did find it in the end, so that made me very happy. Brings back good memories. GG's, I'm a fishy. And maybe we have some scores already. Let's see in a second. Everything is back to normal. Love to see it.
I was gonna say, if I recall correctly, you have like a server first or world's first for something along the Rampy line as well. So I definitely understand why you'd have a little bit of a soft spot for the pterodactyl.
Yeah, exactly. It was my biggest goal to get the world first Rampfire, and I was able to get it. It did cost me quite a lot of nerves and a lot of money to buy like all the materials you needed to fuse it. I bought all the I fused the world first Rampy into the world first Rampfire. So I sacrificed the world first Rampy just to make sure I'm the fastest to fuse a Rampfire. And yeah, it was a hectic time. Like when Illuvium launched, the first like, I don't know how many hours it was, like at least 30 hours, just a continuous stream and just trying to catch as many world firsts as possible. I think, yeah, that was probably my favorite day in Illuvium.
Definitely understand, and I hope to maybe be pursuing a couple of world firsts once maybe some of these dungeons unlock when Obelisk Rising comes out. 100%. Just saying, if y'all need a healer, let me know.
Hey, everyone loves healers and needs healers. It's a great role to play. You're gonna find good groups. I can't wait for stuff like this. It's great. All right, absolutely. As we are looking at the scoreboards, take us away. What we got?
All right, so let's take a look and see who ended up winning from around the event as of this moment right now. So, of course, we saw in Group A, I'm a Fishy, needed that one. Looks like they got a 6th place in Game 1, getting the win here in Game 2, much needed. Araldo, one of our little dark horses, so to speak. Lots of players not necessarily sure who that was, but in the brackets, I believe it was Doom, but I'm also being told it could be Unhappy, who we might remember from the Illuvium Pro League. And then in C, we do have Sota. There we go. They're back on top. They're able to get the win there. They were at least my favorite in regards to that group in order as somebody to make it out. Didn't necessarily have the greatest first game. Looks like they made it up for it in the second. Then lobby number 2, Dr. Spoon finishing up their win from game 1 into a second into game number 2, saying quite nice. But Nariba comes in clutch here for lobby D.
Yes, sir. Love to see it. It is looking almost as expected. What do you think is the biggest upset that we see right here?
Okay, so first and foremost, rather, I have to go look at Lobby D because this is where more of our traditional like Illuvium Pro League top players kind of reside as of this moment. The fact that right now, of course, the winner of the Illuvium Pro League, Narkesh, is in a dangerous position if we're trying to get into a top 4. Right now, they are on the outside looking in, and I'd argue that's absolutely a huge storyline if they're not going to be able to get it done now that it's adapted into the ownership style instead of the old free-to-play style that we saw with Illuvium Pro League. Taking a look here with maybe Group C, trying to see if there's any major standout. If anything, the major standout is the fact that there's only 3 people in the double digits. There's a handful others kind of battling it out. That battle for 4th is actually ridiculous, including TF Toddy, who is one of our special guests. They got a 2nd here. Let's go, TF Toddy. If I recall correctly, too, back when Illuvium Pro League was a thing, I think TF Toddy was one of the players that did give Illuvium a shot. Maybe some of that prior experience is coming out big right here, right now. In fact, Group C might be my go-to because that is a huge battle for 4th.
Yeah, that is incredible. Sifat also pointed out in the chat. That's why I saw it. We have the top are 13 points, double 13 points. Then we have one 10-pointer. And then we have 8, 8, 8, 8. Completely tied. Patch Tourist falling flat here with 4 points. And TF Toddy as the only streamer able to scrape up a good chance of getting into the semifinals. So I'm super excited to see game number 3 of lobby number C. That's gonna be such an interesting battle. And I gotta double check, but I think TF Toddy has my deck, so I'm double invested into this one.
No bias whatsoever. I guess it's just that correct. But no, just you you can bring the horse to water by giving it a good deck, but you can't actually make it perform. And that's kind of what we're seeing so far with, unfortunately, the rest of our special guests. But I already, just based off of that 1 second place alone, mad respect for TF Toddy.
Yeah, that is crazy. And in his defense, my deck is good, but definitely I would say in the midfield. It's by no means the best deck here. And for example, he would be playing my world first Ramfire because I didn't find a second Ramfire, I didn't fuse one, and it has horrible stats, for example. And there is some level 50s, some level 40s. I don't have all the links in TS0, so definitely skill over deck here. He has a less good deck than most of the other players, I would assume. But enough to compete.
And we haven't touched on Group B, so I want to quickly take a look at that. Of course, we saw Araldo, or Unhappy, Doom, whatever you want to call him. We'll call him Araldo for now, but could be a player that we recognize from before. But with Detective Alané essentially taking a stranglehold so far onto this one, picking up where they left off. We've seen anytime there's a tournament, Detective Alané was there. Back with the old Dreamers esports stuff, they frequented that one and won plenty of times. In the Illuvium Pro League, they were always up there. I can't remember if they've officially won an event, but they've podiumed many, many times. And now we have yet another event coming on through here. Detective Alané in a absolute driver's seat kind of position. In regards to getting into 4th place, however, we do see Araldo and Hologini, so Holo Hype, trying to hang on to that spot, with CFGD and Axel from Apex trying to chew their way into that spot. It's going to be very, very tough. Minute not having the greatest run as of this moment, but maybe they can finish off a little strong here for the sake of some points.
Yes, sir. Surfer Dude here in chat is asking, after the next round, is it the top 16 that make it through to the semis? And are the semis also another 3 rounds? That's exactly the case, Surfer Dude. We have one more game here in the quarters, and then we're going to cut half of the players and have our top 16 for another best of 3. So that is gonna be super fun to watch. That's what we have in store for today. And tomorrow is already the grand finals with the top 8 players. So we have an action-packed weekend. And I'm just so happy to be back here with you, Salen, commentating and watching those pro players, the best of the best, get to work and do what they do best, play the auto battler in Illuvium.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. Of course, I had mentioned a few times before, but just competitive and tournament Illuvium is the best kind of Illuvium. And I'm still, as somebody who's been in esports a very, very long time, I'd still argue that, like, strategically and in terms of fun, it's probably one of the best esports out there. Just actually getting into it is the hard part. Like a newcomer coming on 4th, because I know we probably got a lot of attention here today. And with our newcomers, if you're hopping on into the arena and you're dropping into ranked for the very, very first time, you got to treat it like a training arc, dojo. You can have the team synergies perfect. You could honestly play perfect, but you're going to have a hard time early until you start leveling everybody up. You think of it just as a training arc of sorts. You're going to struggle early. It's your Rocky arc. You're going to struggle early, but you're going to be fighting for maybe situations like this, events similar to this, maybe sometime in the very future. So it's definitely need a long-term mindset, but it is beautiful when played here at a top level. And I love these opportunities and just happy to be back.
Yes, sir. I want to take a quick opportunity to check out the prize pool, because now it's going to be interesting. I want to see what the top 16 are earning, because I imagine there will be a big jump in prize money from those players. So let me transition over here and let's flick through our one. Sorry, I caught myself off guard, I would say. All right, there we go. There we go.
No, there was a big jump, though. I can't remember if it was from 16th to the top 8 or what, but here we go, actually. Yeah, so actually there's even still a pretty considerable jump. So even those that might not be able to make it into, or I guess we're still fighting for the top 16, just trying to get into the top 16 as a whole, there's a decent jump there. What, $500 jump?
Yeah,
that's definitely considerable.
It
you
triples.
Make the final table?
It triples and then it triples again.
Table, you're in set.
Yeah, from 9th to 8th, it almost triples again. And then from 16, from 17 to 16 again, triple the money. So yeah, that's huge. And I love that it's top heavy. Second place still amazing, right? $8,000. Hey, I'm happy with that. $5,000 per place, but 15,000 for the first place. It just hits differently, I feel like, and it's beautiful to see.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when this event was first initially announced, I was surprised because some people have like scoffed at it. It's like, well, Illuvium Pro League was this, and this is just 50,000. First off, that was months and months and months and months and months of action. This is a one weekend thing, which still has a prize pool way above average for esports. So for just a weekend, Illuvium, Motorverse, everybody, Lamborghini, this is hella generous, and I definitely look forward to seeing how the players end up competing for this, trying to push their way into some of those bigger prizes. Making that final table especially is going to be huge.
Yes, sir. As we come in early into the final game here at the quarterfinals in the Lamborghini Automobili collaboration tournament, the Motorverse Cup in the Illuvium Arena. We are on Brightland steps, and we're going to start with 20 free shop rerolls. What do you think are the players going to do? Are they reroll just straight out the gate to secure some of the tier 1s, stage 2s that they want? Or are they gonna keep holding on to them until they have a higher level and can maybe find some tier 5s and stuff like this?
I think the players that benefit the most out of this, oddly enough, kind of ends up being Rogue. Because Rogues early, they want to sit at level 5 for a second to get the Predator duo online. So that's your Chikoro, the Drop Bear, as well as the Greater Gorilla. You get that online, and you don't like spending credits there. You would much rather just be leveling up and getting all the way up to level 7 if you can, because that's your best chance at hitting Malura and Slashing. But the less amount of credits that you have to spend at level 5 just means that's more that you can save for level 7. Go nuts, especially if you're going to be racing people for Rogue. Whoever has the biggest pockets has the biggest chance in finding just through more rerolls. And we are going to see, we're seeing Verdant Cleavers or the Vinebound Cleavers rather, coming on through very, very quickly. Both TF Toddy alongside Thanatos Hype going to be picking that one up. And we'll see if the rest of these weapons kind of roll on through here. But yeah, 2 people are going to be racing for Rogues. That's going to be Toddy and Thanatos. And we already see a Penguin online for Toddy.
Toddy is doing great, and he is the player to watch. I think everybody is rooting for Toddy right here to get into the semifinals. It would be a huge achievement for him, and it would really upset and prove all the haters wrong, because I've seen many comments where we're bringing in these TFT streamers and they're all gonna be last. Well, TF Toddy just made second place in the last game, and he definitely has a huge chance here on getting into the semifinals.
No, it definitely stands out among the rest as of this moment. And then I also, we had not acknowledged earlier that they were playing back when Illuvium Pro League was becoming a thing. Funny enough, if you picked up that Rogue play style back then, you can translate that, maybe not 1-to-1, but some of it does translate into the patch as it stands right here, right now. So if you already have the timing and muscle memory kind of figured out, you can play the same way and perform. And as of right now, they've been doing all right. That first one that we saw up against Patch Tourist didn't necessarily go their way, but they have the right idea. The augments are on to the Slap-In, but right now Slap-In, it's kind of a hyper carry of sorts, right? So as a Slap-In, it's not going to necessarily be dealing the most amount of damage. It's going to get beat up on a little bit. But as soon as that thing evolves into Stabbing, the middle stage, and then potentially Slashing later down the road, it will be an absolute monster that we've seen a handful of times so far here in the Motorverse Cup. They're going to take a couple hits early, but they still have plenty of time.
Yes, sir. Looking at the economy here, we have everybody sitting quite healthy. The lowest being 25, the highest being 41 right here. So everybody is sitting somewhere in the middle of the economy. And I'm going to be curious to see who is going to get to 70 gold first, which is a big goal. But like you said earlier, the Brightland Steps with the 20 shop rerolls, it just forces you to spend a bit more gold because you're going to eventually be rolling. And if you're rolling, you're going to find Illuvials, which is going to take up some of your economy. TF Toddy here getting another loose in, which is not the worst because I know he's going to be one of the first to get 70 gold. And yeah, his bench is looking pretty clean as well, because oftentimes I see a beginner mistake is that many players do is where their bench holds all the possibilities, right? There is 2 foes and there is 2 flares. And if you have 2 foes, 2 flares sitting there, that's 18 gold. That's almost 2 income. And it just bites you later on when you're running out of gold and you would have used the compounding interest so much in the late game.
Absolutely, 100%. With this NPC rounds coming on through, we are going to get a nice little influx of credits. Anyone hovering around that 50 mark is going to be very, very close to having that max income. But very quickly, as we're loading into our rogue battle here, this will be an interesting one to see in just a second. But a couple of the other weapons that players did end up picking up. I saw 2 of the Sprout Guards. So that was the Scion Earth Shield. Weird to see that coming on through, but that could very well lead to some Granite play later. But Duel, arguably a dark horse into this lobby as well. Nobody ever thinks of them as in regards to being a top player, but the qualifiers definitely making us remember their name this time by. Same thing here with Zico Perico going for that, my personal favorites, the Emberling Rod. And then we do see Sota, the master of rogues, as I used to, or would call them pretty consistently. Now they're not even playing rogues, it looks like. And then Fancy Pants with the air bulwark weapon. But here's our rogue battle.
Let's see how that one goes. Big stun coming out from the Grocco. That's what you want to see. But there is just such a scary looking stab in here for the side of TF Toddy. And I think that's going to be an easy win. Such a big pickup here in the mid game. It's not going to be as easy as I thought, as it's going to come down to the wire. 1 unit left standing alive. And TF Toddy is reversing his lose streak, going onto a win streak here.
And TF Toddy, they weren't even at their final form in this instance here. Their Ranger currently unbonded to anything. They could have just linked that up with one of your rogues. You would have had Predator online. Additional execution for the Ranger and the Gorilla would have been huge. If we can get a Vanguard, a Bulwark, get a tank out there, bonds that to your Ranger, that is Vanguard. That lets Stabin really start to run away with the game. So this squad from Toddy is still already pretty solid, but it could even go even further.
Yes, sir. Let's see if he's gonna do it. Not quite yet, but I'm sure there is so much going on. As I know from my games in Illuvium as well, you have to think about a 1,000 things re-rolling, finding Illuvial, scouting your enemies. And it's gonna be not enough in this round. Patch Tourist, so much damage with the double small lynxes. Will take down Toddy right here.
Yeah, and that's the staple for Illuvium in regards to ownership modes. Lynxes are just, like we talked about before, so good. Just a stage 1 lynx having pure damage on that Omega can really carry through to the point where majority of players, like we're seeing in the Illuvial list on the right-hand side right now, aren't opting to actually evolve it. They're completely content just staying at stage 1. The stage 2s definitely don't have the same impact. And then the committal necessary to actually go for the fully evolved lynx is very risky. So these little tier 1, or not these tier 1s, but still stage 1 lynxes, still absolutely incredible. Right along here with Toddy once again, but this time going up against one of our other veterans here with Sir Dexter Morgan.
Let's see how that's gonna turn out. Nice positioning here for TF Toddy. Everyone is on the Axon. You want to have that burst damage onto the tank, taking down fast. Now everyone is onto the Arcos, and really one by one just slashing them down. We want to see that same thing happening very soon against the damage dealers, but it looks quite clean. The slash-in also at the stabbing, also sitting here a little bit in the backline, being untouched. Clean victory here for TF Toddy versus Dexter Morgan.
Well, in the end, it looks like it ended up being Sir Dexter Morgan all wrapped up in plastic this time by, but so plenty of health still to go. Pretty healthy in regards to economy as well. Still in the 50s. Not max, but still pretty solid. A couple of the other players to quickly take a look with Fancy Pants. They won game 1 here of this lobby, so on a bit of a roll here for themselves. Looks like Inferno Arcanite is at least the idea that they're going for, but I don't think they have Arcanite. They would actually have Inferno Enchanter as, or not Enchanter, Inferno Aegis or Inferno. That's what, an Arctace, so that's Inferno Invoker. So they at least got the Inferno online, but not necessarily anything additional. It's going to be heavily reliant on this Arctace to stay safe, but when you have all of these rogues diving at you, that's easier said than done.
Yes, good positioning here, but the carpet bomb is going to be laid out actually beautiful in the back line. It's going to hit a few units. Is the stabbing going to stay alive? It's going to get focused right now, and it looks pretty tough with all this damage from the Inferno. It's just so much. 4 fire, 2 Inferno. It does a lot of damage, and yeah. TF Toddy taking another hit, but he's staying at 70 coins. Other players have already lost their cool, it seems like. For example, Zico Perico down to 20 credits. It's super dangerous to go that low in the mid-game. You will run out of steam eventually. And Dexter Morgan looking very similar to that as well.
And then, of course, augments in this game, this is essentially your items to things similar to what you'd see in other auto battlers, and you can utilize them to actually counteract what your opponent is going for. And I need to give some credit here to Fancy Pants for that one that looks like the skull right there, Disruptive Force Reactor, because that's one of the few augments in the game that actually allows you to have True Sight. And considering that blinding has been so prominent as a utility source in the games, especially when going up against rogues or if you're going up against a Blotto, for instance, having that True Sight to just completely ignore what is meant to buy that team some time is huge. And that's why we saw that foe, that Arctase, even while the Revo was rolling around doing its dust thing, did not matter, still shredded it and everybody else nice and quick.
Yeah, True Sight, one of those things that you usually don't need unless you do need it, and then you need it or you lose. If you're going up against the air team or Spore and stuff like this, it's just going to be so hard without it, and pretty much impossible to get through all these dodge changes. I do want to stay here with TF Toddy. We're going to give him the spotlight, especially going up versus Badul, because I feel like he has the potential for a great rogue team, but he needs to push his economy into this board very soon.
It's definitely a standout. While a lot of other special guests today have been faltering, Toddy getting a second in the last game and then holding their own rather nicely. Looking like they're in a very solid spot, but going up against this corner comp coming out here from Badul is looking to be a little bit tough. Badul does look like they've gotten a handful of awesome Illuvials to start things off here, including this right here, this Adorito. This is a tier 5. It's usually way harder to find, but we do see Badul actually spent a handful of credits. If I recall correctly, they were under 10. So they blew the bank basically, but emphasized on leveling all the way up to level 8 already. So they have a little bit of a higher chance than everybody else to try and find some of these later stage Illuvials. And by getting that Adorito being able to heal so quickly, that's absolutely incredible. And then Toddy knows what's up. This is the classic Verdant Vanguard. The Twine, you see the Sloth directly in the, or almost in the center, up the very top, chilling with Vermilio there. The Twine, its job is to die. It dives on through, it drops that Verdant Puddle, which everybody else heals inside of, or at least anybody on your team. So dives on through, drops the puddle, and hopes that the rogues can converge into there for a late game. Sustain plus damage. It's an incredible composition. Let's see if we can actually get this in action here. We're going to see the Twine get knocked down to about half in just a moment's time once that Wildfire ticks it on down. Oddly enough, it took a long time for that Twine. That must be a damn good Twine. Hanging on very, very nicely. The Ranger also, because it's Verdant, linked up with that Twine, is going to be able to drop the puddle. But where's the DPS? I think the Penguin has ended up falling here, so it's relying on a couple of these Predators to actually get some of these last hits. And right now, there's that Predator buff again. The Gorilla doing a fantastic job of holding the line alongside Rampy and Twine. And heck, of course, thank your supports. The Quinks in the background also charming everybody up.
Yeah, I almost thought TF Toddy would be down here because of positioning mistakes. Because, yeah, if you position the stab in somewhere where it will not stay alive, your main carry is dead. And then you're relying to suboptimal damage, but it was enough to pull through. Yeah, we finally see the Ranger bonded, like you said, with the Twine. Knows exactly how to play this rogue composition. Has prepared for this tournament, and here it's gonna be tough versus the Furiox corner composition with the Adorado, looking very similar to the team that Badul was rocking that gave him trouble earlier. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, correction as well. We do see it wasn't the Predator buff, but there's actually a little Rampy that came to join them as well instead of the Chocorl. So Predator wasn't online, but still did some serious damage. But this is a very bulky team to go through, like you were just saying. A very tough squad. That Adorito in the back line also being covered up here by this Archos. Of course, you see that green spread, the Rejuvenasis, every single time it fires off. It basically roots everybody in place while also healing allies. So the rogues that want to get nice and close up against you, well, you're stuck for a while. And that's just going to allow for Furiox to absolutely open fire and absolutely crush Toddy this time by. 21 HP as of this point in the game. Probably got one more life in them, but they're finding what they need. Slashin is here. Vermilier is on the field here as well. But all eyes, as always, on the Penguin.
Oh my god, he's looking at the enemy ramp fight, which is one of the big upgrades that is still missing, but with the slash in, he has found the core win condition of his team, and we're gonna see how it goes versus the enemy rogue. Super important here to knock him out. He was just at the same HP as Thanatos, so one match could equalize their HP. Perfect positioning, everybody's focusing the Twine. Twine is holding on for dear life very long, but the Penguin goes in as the second unit to be focused. Will it be enough here? 4 units, but it goes untargetable thanks to the augments, so that's gonna help a lot. Ramp fight is gonna try to take it down.
Ooh.
It's not gonna be enough in the end. It goes down, but the range and the Vermilion might be enough to turn things around. Still, there is so much self-heal going on. Lulura goes into the ground, and it is just not enough. A Ramphy is the last unit alive, and it won't even get to cast. TF Toddy down to 7 HP.
And that's why the Slashin's best friend is the Star-Nosed Mole. You need that Lura or the Lura or the Malura particular. If you get Malura, that's another Vanguard to proc, of course, additional damage for the Slashin. But more importantly, I'd argue, is the fact that even though the Lura is a rogue, it basically behaves like a tank. The fact that its big ability, being able to jump into the ground, charm everything around it, that was the difference maker. We kind of seen the Slashin go for a walk and felt like it was doing nothing. That wasn't the pathing problem. No, that was the Mole's charm coming on through, stopping that Slashin from getting to all the squishy units, just making it go for a walk and eventually getting back into targeting and getting taken down.
Yeah.
So it's kind of replaced here for TF Toddy. We're seeing the Vermilier kind of take that role instead. But Vermilier is basically a mini bomb in its own right, being able to hit everything around it and reduce resistance or reduce Omega power. But it does not have any sort of crowd control. So that's why you need the Lura. We do see the Lura now online here for Toddy. They just pick it up. That's going to be critical in keeping the Slashin alive.
Yeah, let's see how that goes. Also, the ramp fight came onto the board, so definitely huge upgrades. I would like to see the Lura next to the Slashin to assist it, like you said earlier. Let's see how this positioning will turn out. Definitely 1 or 2 rogues are going to be stuck in here in the zone of death, as I like to call it. The Slashin is going to be a little bit outside of it, so it's not going to be focused fully, but is focused too much. The Vermilia here on the outside is not being focused enough. It usually is the tank of this composition once the Twine goes down, but the Slashin was able to stay alive, stay healthy, and now it's all about killing those last few units fast. The Spheriox is going to be the last unit alive, and easy takedown here for TF Toddy, who was able to put all his money onto the board. And there's only 2 players left that have any economy left going for them.
In the last round, we did also lose Sir Dexter Morgan. So GG's nonetheless, Sir Dexter. Hopefully you had fun regardless of where you end up finishing here. I know personally, Sir Dexter, a big part to my own team, even personally, has helped me big time keeping my Invokers in fighting fit shape. So hate to see them out here early, but GG's nonetheless. Now
big shout out to him.
A battle between Patch Tourist.
Big shout out also to Dexter Morgan, because he also provided one team for the TFT Pro players. I hope he didn't rent it out to Toddy, because if that happened, that would be quite funny. Well, maybe it's nice for him that he still has one horse in the race, so to say. But yeah, Dexter Morgan, one of the staple community members in the Leviathan arena scene. And yeah, we're gonna go in here in a deathmatch between Toddy and Patch Tourist.
Okay, Patch Tourist, I have mad respect. Unironically, going for Scions in this meta is so damn scary, but it's relying really heavily on this Mammoth. It's right in the front, it's got all the tank augments necessary, and that's exactly why. Ramp Fight Infernal Skyfall just absolutely chunking everybody down to half nice and quickly, which softens them up for that snowballing slash in one more time, why don't we? It's going to be absolutely brutal. Toddy's Ramp Fire finding big damage, and that is probably going to be the knockout here for Patch Tourist.
Yes, sir. Patch Tourist out in 7th. TF Toddy hanging on. I'm not sure if he needs a top 4 or what's exactly his win condition to get into the semifinals, but I am rooting for him, and I am hoping he makes it. Seiko Perico and Badul are the next one after him.
And TF did not have much in the bank, but they did find the Malura. That is the other Vanguard, of course, and now it's going to be firing on all cylinders. That is now 3 Vanguard, and that is going to mean that this slash-in is going to be doing heavy damage. Couple augments being traded up. Nice adjustment. The breaching pulse reactor being put onto the slash-in, allowing for 25% additional damage amplification when you attack shields. So this is going to be huge here if this slash-in can find a perfect spot. Rampfire did absolutely nothing though. It was an air ball. None of the damage came on down here, so that is some big damage that the slash-in is going to have to try and make up for. Malura, where's the charm? Goes to the ground, able to mess with a couple of the tanks, but not any of the DPS line. Slash-in is in with the squishies, taking care of one healer there. The Archos getting chopped at, and it is a big stun actually. The Goliath stopped that slash-in for at least a couple of seconds. They do have the phase-breaking pulse reactor or impact reactor right there as well, but they're going to turn and burn onto the slash-in anyway, and there was not enough safety for that Penguin. It found a spot, it was doing good damage, but ends up getting focused. TF Toddy out of here in 6th.
Oh my god. That was so close. Well played, TF Toddy. Mad respect to you. It was like, I think Badul and Sika Bariku both are in his way to get top 4. So, you know, if he managed to survive on another round and they get knocked out. So it was a matter of 1-2 rounds, and that's as close as you can get to getting into the semifinals. Nevertheless, a very valiant effort here from TF Toddy.
Absolutely. Now what could potentially be the end of the run here for one of our other arena regulars. Zico Perico's been around for a very, very long time. I remember them for a bunker composition, but heck, today it looks like we're going for ages. We do see the Rip Lance. We know how amazing that Rip Lance can be at single target DPS, but it's built like a tank. It's taking so long to even chew through that Archos, and I think Sota's just got everything all mapped out right now. That wildfire and our fire style is just going to melt on through everything. Zico Perico going to fall out of here in 5th. Assuming that somebody else doesn't also fall. I think Badul was also in a bit of a rough spot. Badul does fall as well, but barely going to pass Zico Perico. So Badul in 4th, Zico Perico in 5th.
Oh, and that's what I mean. It was a matter of 1 round for TF Toddy here. It was so close. GG, well played to all our players. We are up to our top 3, and I think that already locks in the top 4. I don't want to spoil it too much, but Sota made it into the semifinals. Thanatos made it into the finals. Fancy Pants also into the semifinals. And then last but not least, it's gonna be actually Zico Perico, because he was at 10 points and Badul was at 8 points.
Just enough.
By 1 point, Zico Perico is gonna be the 4th player into the semifinals. Congratulations for these players. But we're gonna watch them play it out nevertheless.
Absolutely, because seeding is still absolutely important. We could still see a pass somewhere down the line here. And one person's, I guess, fault then turns into another player's treasure of sorts. Because as soon as Toddy went down, I think Thanatos this entire time, they took so much health damage waiting for TF Toddy to end up falling. So as soon as they did, now look at the slash and the Malura, it's on Thanatos' team now. But they have to play essentially perfect Illuvium to be able to do this, and they have to go up against what's looking like a brutal fighter squad. That Phosphorus is right there. The Jotun is there as well. I don't think there's going to be Behemoth online, so there's no stun, but we still know how much damage these fighters can do. Phosphorus has been stuck in a charm, so it's been essentially out of here for a good while. Good little charm there from that Quinks. But now here come the rest of the rogues. Can they take care of these 2 Arctases as well? Double Pyro Field flying on through. AC 130 above. Lots of ticking damage, but the shield's coming out here with the amount of empaths on that squad is going to be enough. Thanatos going to hang on for at least a little bit longer.
Sorry, I was taking a sip because I was flabbergasted. This was beautiful, and this is what you want to see from the Slasher, from the Malura. The Vanguard combo coming through. Very tanky, very much damage. Just overall such a well-rounded composition to play. It's a lot of fun to play, and yeah, we're down to the top 3 still, but Thanatos is trying to break into the top 2, trying to win this round, because as you said, it's still very important, the result of this game, because it determines the seeding of the next round. So if you have a low seed right now, you're gonna go up against harder opponents. So this is by no means a victory lap for any of these players here. This is where The little difference maker could be just a win right here and then a better seed in the next round.
That is a big freaking beetle in the back there, ready to catch all of these rogues. Titanor online here for Sota, alongside the fully evolved Gnarl. This is one of the hardest synergies to actually hit. Colossus is here, giving you a bunch of additional health to some of your tanks. We're seeing even right now that Titanor has been just absolutely taking a beating. This is Infernal Skyfall after Omega, after Omega, after Omega, going into that beetle, and it is barely even at half HP at this point here. But how about the Squishies? The Blazonite and the Furiox both opening fire. That is a big stun onto the Slashin as well. The Phase Breaker's already been used. It's going to be targeted. All that damage is gone. It's just a matter for the Blazonite and this Furiox to slowly but surely open fire. The TNT is going to try its best here over on the green side, but I don't think that's going to be enough. Thanatos, the end of the line, might be right here, right now, unless somehow maybe the snail could pop off. We do have the overtime pulse rounds for probably the first time on the tournament today that we're actually seeing. Of course, 45 seconds in, going to be hitting everybody for some serious damage, and that's again where the Titanor comes in clutch. Thanatos going to fall in third of Valiant's efforts, but Soda still hanging on for heads up Illuvium with Fancy Pants.
Yes, sir. And what else to expect from a Titanor than big old overtime? With the Gnarl as well, we have Colossus active. It is such a strong trait right here. You get Thorns. No, at 4 stacks you get Thorns, but you get... Oh, you do get Thorns. You get so much additional max health, and you keep taunting units around you, which can help so much in protecting your Furiox in this case, your main carry. Here comes the Phosphorus. This is the unit to watch out for. How fast can he chunk through these tanks? Now onto the Cinch, and it goes down in no time. Now onto the Colossus, to the Gnarl. This will take a long time. The Titanor stuns it as well, and in the backline, Furiox just dies from the AoE damage, and no chance here for Fancy Pants. Sota has found Exodia, it feels like.
I mean, Fancy Pants had an opportunity there. That Phosphorus, then the Ghosting Screams, was tagging that Furiox that entire time. But then the Titanor walks up, gives it a taunt, makes it change direction, and then that AoE shot just stopped and ended up hitting it in the end here. So one more chance, I'd argue, here for Fancy Pants. 19 HP at this point in the game is probably curtains if you do end up going down again. It's a very tanky squad, but again, trying to get enough damage. If it's all relying on this Furiox and the Blazonite, it's going to be super, super tough. I like the positioning of the Blazonite, though. When that Twist Wing hits an ally, it gives you attack speed. But can it actually hold a line?
Let's see how it will perform. Here comes Diartes lighting the battlefield on fire with the Inferno damage as well. There's a lot of damage coming out, and it might just take the Furiox. It's trying to hold on, goes down in the end, but everybody else is still untouched. The backline is looking really good. There goes the Phosphorus, and it is gonna fall there. We still have a huge Furiox here, blasting through, taking down the Blaze Knight, taking down the Adorado, and taking down the last unit here as well. And Fancy Pants lets me eat my word and is actually still in the game versus Sota here.
I mean, that's absolutely beautiful. We did see the fighter chip being placed onto that Furiox as well, so it's going to get additional benefits from the fighter traits there. The fact that there's so many others at the exact same time, so it's getting the double attack speed. So what, 18% additional attack speed. You've got the augment on the left-hand side here, resonating pulse reactor, if I do recall correctly, the one that looks like a sun. But yeah, right here. Every single time you use your Omega, you get additional attack speed based off of your Omega power. And while, sure, Scoriox might not necessarily have a ton of innate Omega power, it still has some, but you also got to consider that it's boosting your attack speed based off of your current status. And with the Scoriox Omega itself giving you additional attack speed, it definitely stacks up very quickly. We saw that Machine Gun Furiox this time by. Well, it's going to be even crazier now. Machine Gun Scoriox incoming.
Yes, sir. We got Magma online. We got Inferno here for the side of Fancy Pants. And then for the side of Sota, we have Wildfire Tsunami active. With the Aegis, with the Colossus. So looking very tanky with a lot of heal. But like you say, once Scoriox ramps up their attack speed and just fires like a machine gun, there is not much that can stand in its way, and even Titanor will melt eventually. Let's see, the 3 Arcanite gives so much damage as well to the Scoriox. Let's see if it's gonna be enough. There's also a Jotun full board here for both sides. who can take the victory.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so hard to actually naturally get 3 Arcanite because you need both the Furiox as well as that Phosphorus. Finding both is absolutely incredible, but we'll have to see if they can actually hang on because they aren't necessarily the most tanky of Illuvials. That Phosphorus got essentially chunked so quickly, but this second position it's into, those boosting screams are going right through the tank line. Decent job, but the Furiox or the Phosphorus does end up falling. It's up to the Scoriox. It's up to the Ranger to keep Fancy Pants in this game, but there is still just too much damage coming on out here from the red side, which means we will lose Fancy Pants. Sota Hype going to win this one and sit nice and pretty as we move into our top 16.
Absolutely beautiful. I think a big factor here was positioning. If the Scoriox and the Ranger didn't hug each other in the wall, they wouldn't have been stunned by the Titan or Suns over and over again, both of them. Scoriox was just not playing the game, it seemed like. We're gonna check out the replay in a second, and we can analyze a little bit what happened. But yeah, here you have the final score of group number C, and we're gonna go into the semifinals in just a bit once all the games are finished. Beautiful holo auto radio, by the way, I want to point out here. And let's have a quick look at the replay.
Yeah, like this was so weird because yeah, you have the Jotun, but the Behemoth isn't actually going to be online as of this moment. It's just strictly Inferno Arcanite. You're completely right in regards to the Scoriox and the Ranger kind of just hugging it out in the corner. The other problem with this as well, since Scoriox does actually have Magma in this instance, it's a little bit of a risk-reward kind of thing. You can move that Scoriox all the way to the back and try and keep it safe, but the Magma pool, especially since there's no rogues jumping at you, is going to find very little value. If you move it up a little bit, because you'll see here in a second once that Magma pool drops, it's not going to find anything. Yeah, it's giving you a little bit more tank, but it's not actually doing any DPS. Even though the DPS is small, it's still better than nothing. And then Phosphorus, I don't remember exactly what happened, but it just got caught out, had to blow its phase breakers so quickly, and then just got retargeted and popped essentially immediately.
Yeah, we're gonna see it right here. So what to watch out for is in the bottom left. The Scoriox is gonna eat so many stuns. Here comes the first one, and very soon the second one comes, because the Titan is eating so much damage, and every damage it takes, it gets mana. So here already comes the second one, and then we also have the Blaze Knights helping with a lot of CC. And it did make a big difference, but in the end, the Titan, I think there was just too much tankiness and the damage was pretty similar. So the tankier team won in the end.
Having that Flood and having the Adorito in the back line there just made it so nice as well, because there was a few times where the Titanor did get to about a quarter HP, but Adorito, of course, it heals based off of missing health. So the more hurt you are, the more it's going to heal you. And because it's percentage health based, Titanor has the most amount of health in the game. So you can absolutely get buffed right back up to the point where you have 2-3 Illuvials worth of health and HP to deal with, while also just stunning everything in your path. So very nicely done there. Sota, the Master of Rogues, as I'd call them, showing that they are no one trick and they're in a fantastic spot. And showing that this patch, as much as I was worried about it being very hyper offensive, might be more diverse than we thought. So I'm actually extremely excited about that.
Yeah, it hasn't felt very repetitive so far. And yeah, congratulations to Sota getting out of his rogue box that he has been living in over the last years. And you need to diversify your teams and your play style if you want to go for the victory in such a big tournament, which definitely he's shooting for. Going over to the scores, let's see how everyone has performed and who made it actually into the semifinals, into the top 16.
All right, so up in Group A, it does look like, as long, because again, unofficial results, I'm not going to say that this is perfect as of yet, but for now, unofficial results, it looks like Fox Spirit going to lead the charge out of there. Short to follow will end up being I'm a Fishy. Looks like Squawk has made it on through as well, and then Not Complain going to be the top 4 for Group A. Group B, let's take a look once again. OLA's Detective Alanay going to lead the charge out of there, followed shortly by Lamborghini Hype. We do then have Araldo, and then is it Hasu? Hasu moves on 4th and arguably making probably the biggest upset here in this one, in my opinion, unless I'm missing somebody. But no, good on Hasu to make the top 16. Group C, let's take a look. Sota moving on 4th, but they weren't the first, actually. Fancy Pants got first, actually, with 21 points. Sota Hyper right behind, and then we have 2 players at 14. That's going to be Zico, Perico, and Thanatos. Man, barely, because there was somebody, Badul right there with 13 right behind them. That was hella close. Every position mattering here this time by. Then Group D, we are going to have Slick's Hype. They had the second place in the first one. Heck, they did not leave the podium the entire time. They're going to be moving on fourth. Dr. Spoon with his last hurrah here in Illuvium as of this moment, going to be in second, looking good so far. Nariba going to be there in third place. And then last but not least, it's going to be Furies taking that fourth spot, which means our Illuvium Pro League winner, Narkesh, well, they're out in the top 32.
Yes, sir. You kind of win them all. I think he's definitely sour at not making it into the top 16, but I hope he would still be happy about winning the IPL back in the days. And let's give others a chance to redeem themselves, because I'm sure if he wins again today, it would have been very sour for everyone else. It's just always this way. We have had that with Slicks dominating the competitive scene before the IPL, and also Fox Spirit and many other players just being those faker style one tricks that just dominate the scene. So it's nice to see that other players are taking the lead right here.
But just funny though, because I mean, like you mentioned Slicks earlier with their domination. Well, since that time, I've known them for basically hitting second in every possible scenario ever, but never actually winning the tournament. And that's so heartbreaking, because you're right there all the time. But they're damn well consistent, and I'll absolutely respect the heck out of them for that.
Yes, sir. That's it. I'm just gonna quickly shuffle the teams, and yeah, where the backend is gonna get the sheet ready, so we double confirm. But I think you figured it out pretty good, and then we're gonna see who moves on into the semifinals. I think we might actually. All right, the back end is faster than I can say it in the front end. We already have the semifinals here. Let's check it out. Here are our top two teams. Group A and Group B. We have Fox Spirit, Not Complain, Hologini, or Holo, Aroldo, which is played by Unhappy, Aroldo's team. Fancy Pants, Thanatos, Dr. Spoon, Nareba, Amafishi, Squazak. I usused to call him Squawk, yeah. But I think now that you said it, I realized there's a set in between. We have also Detective Aline, Hasu, Sota, Sika Perico, Slicks, and Furies, plus the respective guilds.
Yeah, this is going to be an absolute fantastic semifinal. I'm looking forward to seeing what they end up performing, or how they end up performing here, because both of these lobbies, I don't think anybody can say that one is heavier than the other here. These are both death lobbies. This is to be completely frank with you. Trying to keep tabs of everything is going to be absolutely crazy. And we're going to be in another scenario, if I recall correctly. So top 4 from these lobbies after a best of 3 move on fourth as well. So tomorrow?
Exactly. Yep. We mixed it completely up. So every one of these groups has 2 players of every lobby from before, plus 2 placements of every lobby from before. Which means Group A, for example, has 2 players from A, B, C, and D from the quarterfinals, and 2 first players, 2 second place players, 2 third and 2 fourth place players. So they're completely homogeneous, but of course, I'm sure some players will see their lobby as the death lobby and not the other one. But yeah, that's what we got. And we have a best of 3. After the best of 3, we're gonna take the 4 best players again from both lobbies and have our top 8 for the grand finals tomorrow for the big dollars.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Hasu in the YouTube chat, that my deck is not ready for this. Well, you've made it this far. Keep pushing. You're already doing so fantastic alongside everybody here. This is going to be very close. And you never know. If you're trying to fight, I suppose, I'm not giving advice, so to speak, but if you're going to be fighting for a team that everybody's going for, it could be very scary. But find that diamond in the rough and see who can come out clutch, and you might be able to square yourself in there.
Yeah, big shout out to you, Hasu. I think looking at the list here, maybe the player with the least competitive success in our past tournaments, and so
like
really cool.
Done well, like, because I remember them from Illuvium Pro League. Like there'd be times where they would be top 5 in certain Illuvium Pro League events, but in terms of like a win or something like that, yeah, you're completely right.
Yeah, with tournament earnings, I would say I actually think I can find the statistic of where we're gonna try to get that on. I'm gonna talk to backend if we have the actual tournament earnings of all these top 16 players. I think that would be cool to see.
Well,
our best earner with like 50k is not here, as you said. The IPL world champion from 2025 was knocked out last round, so this gives everyone else a chance to catch up to him. Until then, we're gonna take a quick 3-minute break about, so get your snacks, get your drinks, and we're gonna be right back with the semifinals. Great ability, especially in the early game where every single unit matters so much more.
100%. It's a slept-on unit too. Like nobody picks this thing up around as well from the evolved version. Hardly ever picked up unless they're going to the air. But you're completely right though. Just having that stun and probably the best single target stun through the flank as well. So it's just such a strong unit, especially early. But now we do see for similar spots, tracking in, or sometimes we see here on the YouTube side of things, quick chat streams, I believe every Friday, some of their Illuvium arena grinding, and looking forward to seeing them this time by. They've come out and said that in terms of their Illuviums, they aren't necessarily perfect in regards to TPI. They got plenty of strategies to try and overcome that. Right now, it looks like a heavy rogue emphasis, with a lot of that damage being put onto a Vermilion.
Yes, we're missing just one rogue unit. I flicked through those TPIs and levels. It's looking not too bad for Draknian, so I would say this is definitely one of his better units here. The rogues all over level 50, all decent TPIs, but it's going to be so hard versus this hyperactive going Riptorus, just munching through those rogues early on. 12,000 damage here from the Riptorus compared to the highest damage dealer here, Great Gorilla, on the opposite side. So yeah, Fox Spirit is looking very strong here in the early game.
Yeah, that Riptor is just not even.
Regarding crypto and Web3 games, like obviously the market is very connected with Web3 games, but the community, no matter if it's up or down, is looking very, very healthy, very, very positive, and that's just something that I really love to see.
This is fun to me, and I absolutely love this. And this community has been very, very welcoming to me and many, many others, and I'm so thankful to see that.
Yes, sir. That's what it's all about in the end. About the friends you make along the way. But for now, for this competition, it's not going to be about friendship. It's going to be about murder on the battlefield between these players here. And Fox Spirit and Squawks on the top are both on a big win streak, and everybody else wants to take them down. Let's see how long it will take. Well, it will take one more round till one of them over level 50, all decent PPIs, but it's gonna be so hard versus this hyperactive going Riptorus just munching through those rogues early on. 12,000 damage here from the Riptorus compared to the highest damage dealer here, Great the Gorilla, on the opposite side. So yeah, Fox Spirit is looking very strong here in the early game.
Yeah, that Riptorus just got even better too with its current dogmatization. Stealing stats with that middle one there, the orange one we see there, the scything. That one is able to give additional piercing, but also stealing attack damage will make it power every couple of attacks. You also have the piercing force reactor on the left-hand side there, where you're going to be doing percent health damage. So this Riptorus is an absolute single target bursting machine. But now we're going up against our special guest here, Snooty Boo, going after my heart here with this beautiful little sit-off in the corner. This thing, of course, shoots the target the furthest away from it. Everything in its line of fire takes a ton of damage. Can it get a good shot here onto this tank line? Maybe onto the Riptorus. The Riptorus is going to walk right on into it. It's going to get chipped down to about half HP. And the rest of these Illuvials hold the line. The Sinoff has been doing pretty good targeting these Illuvials and being able to actually hit the ones that matter. But just look at this absolute beautiful tankiness coming out here from the side of Fox here. Just sitting inside of that devastating surge. And it's just going to be able to destroy in the end.
And like there is all the people here in the tournament, like I would say 80% of them, and everyone knows in the community, everyone knows everyone, and everybody has you can really feel that character coming through, and it's just so cool to see these over the years the community develop. And recently I've seen so many new people come in and say, wow, I was in another Web3 game, I come to Illuvium, the old game died, but here there is a strong community, very positive, even though the market has been so brutal regarding crypto and Web3 games. Like, obviously the market is very connected with Web3 games, but the community, no matter if it's up or down, is looking very, very healthy, very, very positive, and that's just something that I really like to see.
Absolutely. Regardless of the market conditions, the game itself has to be fun, and whether it was the overworld of old or the arena, especially arena right now, I still think it's like a fantastic game, and I extremely great esport here as well. And I'm not a Web3 guy, for instance. Before I was doing this, I was casting collegiate stuff with like Valorant and League of Legends. Why am I here in a Web3 game? Because I don't care that it's Web3. This is fun to me, and I absolutely love this. And this community has been very, very welcoming to me and many, many others, and I'm so thankful to see that.
And great ability, especially in the early game where every single unit matters so much more.
100%. And it's a slept-on unit, too. Like, nobody picks this thing up. Kukarap as well, the fully evolved version. Hardly ever picked up unless they're going for full air. But you're completely right, though. Just having that stun, and probably the best single target stun in terms of length as well. So it's just such a strong unit, especially early. But now we do see sticking here with Fox. We're going up against Draken Yen, or sometimes we see here on the YouTube side of things, Crypto Quick Chat stream, I believe, every Friday, some of their Illuvium arena grinding, and looking forward to seeing them this time by. They've come out and said that they
Welcome back, everyone. We are here, arrived at the semifinals. And it's gonna be action-packed with the top 16 battling out for a spot for tomorrow for the top 8 in the grand finals for the big money in this Motorverse Cup here in the Illuvium Arena.
Yeah, absolutely. Started off, of course, with the top 32, now trimmed down to the top 16. And even with that, a couple of, I'd argue, favorites going into this event have already been knocked out. I know the big one for me that sticks out personally, of course, Illuvium Pro League champion Narkesh already out in the top 32. So a big upset there. But with everybody that moved on as well, plenty of incredible battlers or incredible rangers coming on through for this one. But we have to cut this down again. Yeah, top 8, this is going to get feisty very quickly.
Yes, sir. Let's have a little bit of an overview for anyone that is tuning in late here to the semifinals. We are ready for the ride. This is one of my favorite Illuvitars with the Automobili Lamborghini collaboration here with the Illuvitars. The Volante as the team manager, as I would like to see it. And yeah, we have the Motorverse Cup here. And it's $50,000 on the line. I just want to highlight that once again. We have also the Lamborghini Battle Board, which is so cool to see. And basically, we are down now to the semifinals. And tomorrow we already have the grand finals. Same time, same starting time, 1 p.m. UTC. And here you can see everybody that is now in the top 16 has already earned $750 here as a prize money. And then if you make it out of the semifinals into the grand finals, it jumps up almost triple the amount, up to 2,250, and with the first place being 15K.
No, it's all right to be like happy with what you got right now, but at the same time, there is still just so much more that can be done. And these Illuvium tournaments, they don't come around very, very often. So when they do, you want to show up, show off, and then show the fact that you're probably one of the best rangers around. And especially with this tournament format here, of course, this is the first one since August where we had the one-off where it was the Illuvium No Limits Leviathan tournament where ownership was actually on. There was also the OLA Leviathan tournament that was sponsored with Illuvium as well, but that was another one-off. It's been a while, but we're here, right here right now with the Motorverse Cup. Finally get another opportunity to show off not just your skills, but the Illuvials you worked so hard to train and catch.
Exactly. Here in the Motorverse Cup, first game of the best of 3 of the semifinals. It is everything on the line here for these players. They have worked so hard to get here. This again is the Leviathan game mode, which is the only game mode now in the arena where you play with your own Illuvitars, Illuvials. So everything these players have captured, have bought off the marketplace, these are their monsters with their stats and their levels. And if we just look at a random stage 2 Flish here, it is level 50 and it has perfect stats all around, just missing 1 point in health. So yeah, these players came prepared and all their decks are pretty much maxed out at this point of the competition.
And leveling that stuff up, it wasn't very easy. I know a lot of players, especially the OG ones, heck, I think I remember you doing it yourself, Paz. I did a few streams of it before, where you'd go into Overworld, into like some of these higher stage runs and just grind on all of these battles over and over again. Of course, you're not actually able to do that now. So the only way that you're able to level things up would have been through the arena itself. And it's gotten way better than what it used to be. But damn, does it take a long time. So the fact that not only do these players have a core team composition leveled up, a lot of them have an entire collection leveled up, ready to fight. It's extremely impressive. And then everybody who's even gotten that far, it's a massive accomplishment in its own right, let alone to be performing here at the Motorverse Cup.
Absolutely right. And yeah, some of these players have the best collections in the game. I think Dr. Spoon, Fox Spirit, definitely some players very much up there, Hollow as well. And this is, like we said already, like both lobbies are a lobby of doom. We have Fox Spirit, Aroldo, which is better known as Unhappy, Sota from Hype, Fox Spirit was from Atlas, Nareba, Dr. Spoon, Thanatos from Hype, Hollow from Hype, and Not Complain from Hype. So Hype, again, a very dominant guild here in this tournament as well. Let's see how it ends up in the end. Atlas is holding Fox Spirit is holding up the Atlas flag as he likes to do for his Russian guild right there. Love to see it. And going quickly over the weapons, we have Aqua Blaster for Fox Spirit, the Ember Buckler for Aroldo. We have the Ember Bastion for Sota, Strike Boomerang for Nareba, Strike Boomerang for Dr. Spoon, and then we have the Bindbound Cleaver for Thanatos. And everything is switching, but the Quake Maulers for Not Complain, and Holo also goes with the Aqua Blaster.
Yes, we're going to have, once again, two rogues fighting it out with each other to try and see who can hit that Vanguard combo a little bit quicker, unless maybe composite ships come on in where Revenant's going to be a thing. But I would imagine it's probably both pushing for Vanguard. I'm curious to see what Araldo's going to be going for. That Ember Buckler does not tell me much. Could potentially go for Magma, could potentially go for Inferno. I imagine it's probably Inferno, but still with the Ember Buckler, it's a little bit awkward to try and get on through here. And then in regards to the region, we have Crystal Shores, but which version of Crystal Shores do we have here today?
Crystal Shores. Gain 1 stackable free shot reroll each time you fuse. That's an interesting one.
So even in this early stages, these players end up having... The game turns even more high APM than you actually realize, because it's actually more beneficial to just spam and buy everything in the shop and get them to fuse, then you sell and you get the free reroll. Buy everything you get, fuse, sell, just over and over and over and over again. So it leads into a lot of dry, like alluvial pools, where sometimes if you're going for something really in particular early, it makes it really messy. But then it makes pivoting a little bit easier because you're also buying essentially everything anyway. So it's an interesting region.
Yeah, definitely. It's a cool mechanic. It's like a hidden mechanic in this region. And I'm sure a lot of players, especially the younger ones, like the high APM, where usually auto battlers are very low APM, very low actions per minute, very low clicks per minute. That is something that brought me to the auto battlers because, for example, I used to play a lot of strategy games, but then I look at the clicks per minute for like professional Warcraft 3 players, and it's something like hundreds of clicks per minute. Like it's like I don't know the exact number, but something crazy like 40 clicks per second, like something that my mind couldn't even grasp to understand how that's even possible. It's a lot of dead clicks. But that really made me stop trying to compete in Warcraft 3 right away and pretty much stopped strategy games because the skill ceiling was so high. And here in Auto Battle, the skill ceiling is also very high, but it's more a thinking ceiling. It's more a strategy game like you could say poker or whatever. There's a lot of layers, but it's a little bit hidden in between and not so much mechanical demanding.
Absolutely. I know back in my prime, back in the StarCraft days, I was up in there in the couple hundred APMs, but not anymore. And that's definitely why I've definitely come to liking the auto battler side of things here as well.
Yes, sir.
Take a look at this battle right here with Thanatos. I do believe they're going up against Dr. Spoon to start things off here. We've got rogues alongside a little bit of fighters, that double Lynx combination. And Dr. Spoon in particular, I've met their Lynxes many times. They're not even just level 60. If I recall correctly, I think they're like 63 or something along those lines. They have seen many battles, and with that, they're just going to be able to absolutely maul on through and wreck Thanatos.
Yes, sir. Quick chat check here. We have Toriel asking what time does it start tomorrow. Same time as today, so that is 1 p.m. UTC, which is 2.5 hours in the past. So 2.5 hours ago tomorrow, which is in 21 hours and 30 minutes. But I think you catch my drift. Yeah. So
quick math in that. Good on you.
Keep the brain cells
quick
moving.
Math in it right next to the number C. I see you.
Yeah. Okay, let's have a look. Should we already go to the bottom? They sitting at 53 HP. We could still stay with the top here. Right now, Nareba is battling versus Spoon. Super quick match here. for the 6 fire, usually a very, very strong power spike if you get that early on. So I think Nareba is going to have an easy mid game since he hit that. And everybody else is going to hope not to get matched up against him.
Yeah, oddly enough, it seems like you're scared about rogues, but maybe the 6 fire, I knew it was strong, but I did not realize it was this strong. It is seeming like in a very dominating position, but it's also easy for me to say because Nariba spent their entire bank going for it. So this very well, like, sure, they've established their position, and especially in a best of 3 like this, at this point here, you could probably bet that they're in the top 5. But how do they survive from here? They're not going to be able to get upgrades very, very fast. They're going to be stuck at level 7 for a very long time as well. They have firepower, but everybody is going to get stronger and leave them in the dust. So I'm curious to see how that one end up going up. But our next battle, we do see Dr. Spoon up against Hollow.
Yes, sir. And it's a classic move, right? You spend all your economy. You kind of guarantee in a way that you're not going to go out last or second last, but you also kind of forfeit the option of going first or second. So you kind of more, squeeze into the middle instead of being in a polarizing position where it can swing into either direction, which is a very, very good move in a small sample size tournament stage like a best of 3.
Absolutely. And we saw, but that was a little Alfie that was getting some serious work here for Hollowgini. Love to see the little Alfie come on through, but normally when you think of the Alfie, it might be a tier 5, but it's stage 1. It basically tickles you. It doesn't do that much damage, but yet it's got all the augments, and it's been able to put Hollow into a pretty decent spot. Still in the 50s in terms of economy. Heck, we got an NPC rounds coming on through. And of all the stats it can have, heck, that's A-okay. As long as it's tanky and it's got Omega power, that's essentially all you need. Alfie hardly ever auto-attacks. So missing attack speed, missing attack damage, movement speed, doesn't matter whatsoever. I'd argue this is a perfect Alfie.
Yeah. It does like a little bit of attack speed just to generate a little bit faster its Omega ability, but that's a difference that is so minuscule and so small that I would also say this is pretty much as good as it gets. And that's, if I would pick 3 stats, those are the 3 that I would go for as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's go down to the bottom. We see Not Complain might be complaining after this first game because he's sitting at 34 HP, but health economy, 75 health. So he hasn't pulled the trigger yet. He's still pulling, he's still waiting, and he's gonna go all in very soon. As we see right now, spending a decent amount of money in the last 5 seconds. Let's see if it was enough for him.
A big outlier that just made this game more interesting as well. Composite chips are in play. So we are going to see the potential for maybe 4 Vanguard, like we see here with this rake here on the green side going up against Araldo. Turning that rake into a Vanguard is going to be absolutely disgusting, because now instead of the Penguin and Thylacine being enemies, well, hell, they can be on the exact same team and be just as devastating, as we are seeing Araldo just absolutely get smashed here by this incredible play here from Not Complain.
Yes, and once we get 4 Vanguard, it gets another effect, which means attacks heal for 15% of the damage dealt, which is absolutely huge for something like an Umber or a Slash-in. Like, this is game-changing stats here that will be added once you get 4 Vanguard, which is pretty achievable. You just need the Malura, basically, and he has it already.
Much easier said than done, though, especially when you have yet another player going at you against or with the exact same team composition or a very similar one. Whereas, as we're seeing here, Thanatos hype versus Not Complain hype. The 2 hype players, oddly enough, I mean, they've been known for their rogues and they're playing it up against each other. They've both managed to get Vanguard chips, but in terms of actually getting Malura, it does look like Thanatos is a little bit more ahead. And they also have one of their more critical power spikes as of right now. With that Vinebound Cleaver, it does let you get Verdant Vanguard much quicker than it does for potentially Granite Vanguard. In fact, it's going to be Dust Revenant coming on through instead. If maybe that dust can blind some of these Alluvials, it could be pretty crazy. Good charm from the Lura here on the side of Thanatos, but it looks like actually Not Complain. That combination between the Rake and the Stabbin has just been way too damn hard to deal with. The rest of the Alluvials coming in clutch in that one here as well. So as the battle of the rogues continues, it looks like it's actually Not Complain on top.
Huge damage here coming out from the Stabbin. Nice augmentation So we have the untargetable, the face-breaking impact reactor, one of the staple augments since I can think. Like Stabin has always loved this augment, and any carry really does that is in the mix and is getting targeted a lot, because you're gonna drop all that aggro, gonna be able to heal up again if you have lifesteal, and just have a second life basically. We have just flat stats here on the precise force reactor, and then we have stacking, attack damage, and crit amp on takedowns, which works really well also with that reset of aggro with the second life.
Absolutely. The emergency button, so to speak, for the Illuvials. We do see it pop off this time by, and actually Penguin is going to go down. The Arctase, I think, finished it off rather nicely. So there we go. Not impenetrable, not invulnerable in the slightest here. The big polar bear actually being the tank in that one. It might be a fighter, but it does just fine, taking a couple shots there for itself.
Yep, we see the Arcanite chip on the polar bear doing great job, and yeah, only the phosphorus. Well, only, I say. It is a big feat to get a phosphorus, but that would mean 4 Arcanite, at which point the damage is just through the roof with 50% resistance piercing. It's going to be a huge power spike here as well, and I just love seeing that we have those legendary augments here being the imprints, and we're going to see so many crazy team compositions.
Now, Nariba was leading the charge here. However, I think they got bit with a really rough chip to actually try and play around. It is actually, look at this snake. It's on one side. It's going up against the rogues. Psych! It's a rogue now. That's a phantom. Furiox firing on over to the other side, basically behaving like a rogue that can also go untargetable. But it does not matter if everything else just dies, then they're going to turn on you anyway. I love the idea, but that phantom chip is so hard to work with, so that might actually be to the detriment here of Nariba.
Yep, it was a really nice play, but the rest of the team just doesn't really fit into it. Like you said, there is no tanks keeping that Furiox alive, no matter where it stands, no matter how much it jumps around. And not complain, getting a big victory here. Still sitting at 20 gold, or credits rather, at 20 HP. So that's ballsy of him. Everybody else has rolled down as well. Fox Spirit still has 40 credits, which is really good for him. But now we have a PvE round anyway, so that's a gold injection for all our players.
It's like I worry about not complaining at least a little bit, because they're still lacking that tank option. Because for Minio, it's built to kind of be the tank of the rogues, Lura built to be the tank of the rogues, but at the same time, they're not fully evolved yet, so they don't truly have that much to punch through. They'll just get taken down rather quickly. Optimally here, when you're using the Quake Maulers here for Not Complain, you do end up getting the Beetle, the tier 5 tank of the squad, link up with your Ranger, and you can get Granite Vanguard, giving you your best possible situation to buy at least a couple seconds for yourself and let the rogues go nuts. But as it stands right now, being stuck at level 8, kind of forced to be rolling down. Like they got their second Lallura, trying to find it, but that's actually a pretty big upgrade. Instead of the Vanguard combo, how about we just get the Umber instead? Being at level 8, you have the better chance for it, and that is a big pickup. And now it's going to force Sota. It looks like, yeah, they're going to bunker up a little bit. That's one way you can try and deal with this rogue squad, but even still, Umber, for sure, on every Omega, hits at least 3.
Yep, and the front line is not looking really tanky for Sota here. We have stage 1s all across the board.
Well, he's just a little guy.
Yeah, we got an Atlas, we got a Flare, and a Scarabog. Still not looking too bad. In total, there's 5 bulwarks, so maximum resistances for the team-wide buff here, but they are gonna fall like flies, it would seem, especially with this Ramfight here blasting in. Well, so far, nobody has died, and I am completely wrong. They are holding on so very well, also with the heals from the Adorado, with the Fernite stunning everything, and it seems like this wall of little cuties is unpenetrable, and yeah, Umber is gonna fall. Good on you, Sota, winning another round here.
Okay, that was actually kind of incredible, all things considered. We're going to lose Not Complain, so that's an absolute heartbreaker there. They're going to fall out of this one very early in 8th. That was just enough of a loss to do that much damage. My goodness. But yeah, that was just pure volume of Illuvials, but also being protected by, that was 5 bulwarks. So you're getting the reflective damage plus the most amount of defenses. You've got the 4 empaths, so you're getting pretty considerable shields on every single play. And then I believe Sota had 6 nature, which 6 nature in particular gives you a massive just healing over time buff compared to some of these other stats. So yeah, that just looks super, super strong as we're now going to go up against Thanatos, who's also on death's door here, and they're going up against Nariba, who has that 6 fire locked in.
Adorado here looking pretty healthy, and also the Furiox looking good. The Phantom just jumping into the backline now, able to kill the Adorado pretty early on, focusing now the ramp fight, which gets untargetable. So he gets one more cast. Nope, it's gonna get shut down, and the Furiox just burning through the enemy with ease. And not even that much damage, but just a more well-rounded composition here will take down Thanatos in 7th place.
Now, if I can see the weapons here one more time for all the players, was that the both dedicated rogues out of here? That was both dedicated rogue players out of this game. So, wow, I did not have the wrap on the meta apparently at all going into this game here. I thought that rogues were going to run us all over, but it doesn't look like it's the case as of this moment. We do still, of course, have the Umber, which is the outlier, but it's also in that position because of the amount of backup it has. The 8 water on point. You've got the big Mammoth there as well, able to be kind of like a bodyguard here for that Umber as well. Can arguably do a little bit of a better job more consistently than Malura. So I love what Halogini is going for here, being able to get that Umber, since we did see Not Complain go down. All those dashes went back into the shop, and it's a Harbinger as well. So if it gets low, it's going to hit like a truck while also being surprisingly tanky.
Yeah, one of the most fun compositions to play, in my opinion. Harbinger Umber with the 8 water is just a treat. But first, we're going to go here with Fox Spirit versus Sota. We have the Axodon, which is kind of missing for Halogini, and we're gonna see if Fox Spirit is gonna be able to hold on. He's very close to being knocked out here if he takes too much damage, and so far it looks like it. Nothing of Sota has died yet. The Atlas finally falling, and just the tankiness combined with the heals and the damage here in the backline also coming through with the Furiox seems to be an unbeatable composition right now. Sota will extend their win streak and will possibly take down Fox Spirit here in 6th place. Let's see if that's going to be 19 damage. I think so. I would guess it's going to be -2. Let's see what happens. This Gasotep is trying to hold on. Here comes the damage. It is -2. Ooh. Fox Spirit out in 6th position.
I mean, I love the creativity there, going for the 4 Enchanter. The Gasotep was there and everything, but yeah, it's more of a consistent damage over time kind of build. Well, not Mystics, but just Empaths in general kind of just say, okay, whatever, my shields mitigate all that damage anyway, so good luck. And I love the build, but it did not quite work out here for Fox Spirit, and that is probably, I believe, his worst finish so far today, and it couldn't have come at a worse time as we get started here with our top 16. Granted, yes, they do have 2 more games to try and get back up there, but that actually is a major thorn in the side of Fox Spirit.
Yeah, that is heartbreaking, and I hope he can recover in the next 2 games. It's not all over yet, but now is where the mental comes in and where you need to keep your cool. Who doesn't keep your cool is this big ramp fight, blowing out a big Omega here in the backline, doing almost no damage. And it's all gonna come down to this Ghost Army Scoriox in the end versus 10 units, which is not gonna be enough, and Narebo stays alive here versus Aroldo. No, wait, it was Aroldo who stayed alive, and Nareba took a hit in his real fight versus Dr. Spoon.
And this is where Mystics get scary. The one thing that Araldo did get going for him was the fact that they got that fully evolved Geyser. Now, of course, tier 4, you don't usually see that till the late game, but to get the fully evolved one when there's a handful of players contesting you at the same time for it is a big pickup. That should now, in theory, be 3 Mystics online. As we take a look at some of these gorgeous Lamborghinis, of course, here in the battle or in the arena. But now the big part here for Araldo, how do you get Adorius? That's probably one of, if not your big win condition, being able to make your team incredibly tanky, healing every single time something does end up falling, as well as a perk for 4 Mystic. And then, of course, Adorius as well. It's not just the healer, but it also does a bit of execute damage based off of how low enemies happen to be. But if they spent a lot trying to get Geyser, that's going to be very, very tough.
Yes, as we're watching Sota here going to the bottom of the field, he is getting somewhat lucky going up versus a Ghost Army. So let's watch somebody else off the brink of extinction here in the first game. And they're going up versus Hollow, who has, I feel like, by far the best deck right now and so much ahead of everyone else. We can look at the compositions here. We got Steam. We got 4 Harbinger, which is so huge on an Umber, giving it so much extra stats. And let's see if Aroldo can hold on here versus Hollow.
All right, so the lower that Umber goes, the crazier it's going to get, but it's also going to be just doing additional damage over time, being that much scarier. Good old shunt from the Mammoth, that entire corner getting stunned up big time. Of course, the Mammoth, it's a smart little fella that has that big brain for a reason. It's looking for that biggest clump possible to launch in and get the biggest stun possible, but the stun gets negated if it does go down midway, like we just saw right there. It is going to heavily come down to whether this Umber can actually stay safe. It does have the phase breaker in case it does get too low. Sinol from the back line as well, doing some serious AoE damage to that Fern and the Furiox. Down to about halfway here for this Umber. These Wraith Strikes are starting to hit pretty heavily. And look at that. There we go. Triple kill. That's going to finish the job quite nicely. This Water Squad from Hollow will get the kill shot.
And with that, we're losing Sota. We're losing our Roldo. And we are down to our last 2 with Dr. Spoon and Hologini. Looking both really strong with so much HP still for being the last 2 alive.
Oh, that's absolutely incredible. And here we go. The big thing here for Dr. Spoon. They've spent everything they have in the bank. I mean, same thing here with Hollow. Hollow did get a big upgrade in regards to Dual F. That is another Steam Online, which, yes, it's going to pack a good punch in its own right, but it's going to make it so those Steam buffs that Umber is getting is going to just be that much stronger now. 3 Steam currently online. Phosphorus online right next to a Jotun. Some big fighters coming on through. Let's see how it goes.
Here we go. Big throw here from the Mammoth, who instantly dies. The 4 Arcanite doing so much damage. Everything falls instantly. Here comes a big Dual F laser into the backline. Takes down everything, and it's Dual F versus Phosphorus. And Dual F is going to come out victorious just by an inch.
Of course, that Dual F, it does damage over time. It is not a burst damage mage by any means, and it absolutely did not go in their favor because of that. That Phosphorus being able to get that Ghosting Scream just that little bit quicker gave a massive burst of damage, able to take care of that Dual F, which is definitely heartbreaking. The idea was there. That was a perfect little setup, but could not convert this time.
That was as close as it gets. You love to see it. The Arcanite damage took everything out in a second. Mammoth wasn't even able to cast. Maybe with some repositions it's gonna change, but this is gonna look rough here for Dr. Spoon.
The Mammoth did not get a single shunt online, did not get a single stun, so that's going to be a little bit rough here for the green side. Dr. Spoon in a prime position to run away with this. Everything just died. Absolutely incredible. Dr. Spoon, if they want one last hurrah, well, they're looking like they're going to be on top for it. Beautiful game. Going to win game 1.
Oh my god, that was beautiful. Yeah, with a win streak, 47 HP still left. Dr. Spoon is just getting started. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never seen Dr. Spoon, like, win any tournament before. But this time it looks like he's on fire and he has a good chance of placing really well in this Motorverse Cup.
That's the interesting thing, because Dr. Spoon's been around for the longest time, right? And they've been in part of events, like every single community event that could have possibly been in. You always see them there. They're always known as a good player. Even in the Illuvium Pro League, they were a great player. And it just didn't necessarily convert into any sort of big wins per se. Maybe not necessarily anything huge that you'd see on the earning board. But I know, like, anytime they show up for House League, they are on top, and they're probably the second most winningest player in the hardest division for the House League. And they perform very, very well, very, very admirably every single time. But yeah, on a big stage, it's never been the perfect spot here for Spoon. Looking like they're trying to turn that around here today.
Yeah, I love to see it. I think Dr. Spoon got a little bit more active and invested once Leviathan took over in the arena and once his ownership mattered, because he had a good big collection, and I can agree to that. It just feels so much better if you play with your own Illuvials, that you have so much sentimental value attached to them. You maybe caught many of them, you fused them yourself, and it's so cool to actually bring your own Illuvials into battle, see them evolve with the levels and all of that. Yeah, we had a quick
Absolutely.
real.
And that's why I've been.
Yep.
Oh, that's why I've been sad, because Dr. Spoon had went on note saying that after this tournament, they're probably done for a good while. So I definitely hate to see them go. I know they've helped me a ton in regards to getting my team into a competitive shape, and they've always been supportive of my streams and content and whatnot. And they've just been around Illuvium for the longest period of time. So I want to see them do well here. If they're going to be gone for a little bit, I want to see them go out on top. And heck, they're doing a fantastic job so far.
Yes, definitely the crowd favorite for many of the viewers. We see a lot of GG Spoons in the chat. Love to see it. And yeah, let's see how this tournament goes for him. Definitely happy to see him perform well. I hope he can keep it up. And yeah, definitely not what I expected here in the first round, with Fox going out early, Dr. Spoon taking it. I love to see it. It's every round, I think it's a different composition on top, a different player on top. It feels like this is a very balanced tournament so far, where nothing is like written in stone, and that we already know, oh, this person is gonna win. No, like people are stepping up, bringing their collection, and really playing out their hearts here on the battlefield.
Yeah, the only thing that's been like the standout, as in, okay, this seems really strong right now, it's not necessarily been the player itself, but just Six Fire. We're seeing a lot of like Skoriox kind of based compositions just blowing everything up, which definitely, again, I knew it was on my radar, but it wasn't to that crazy of a point like we're seeing here today. But in terms of players, like you were saying, yeah, there's not necessarily any one individual that's been dominating so far here today, and that's cool to see.
Yes, sir. I'm just trying my luck if we can still capture lobby number 2, the final moments of it, because that would be really cool.
Potentially.
And yes, we are into the top 2. Let's jump over to it. Here we go. We got Detective Align versus Slicks. And yeah, let's digest everything we see for a second here.
All right, so first off, speedrunner results here. So Fancy Pants in third. I'm Fishy got 4. Furies fifth. Hasu 6th. Squawk in 7th. And Zico Perico in 8th. In terms of our top 2 teams, again, you mentioned Detective Alan and Slicks. It looks like we've got that Inferno Templar coming on through here for Detective Alan. Meanwhile, Slicks does have Rogues, but screw it, throwing a Dorius in there as well for some big heals. We'll have to see how this ends up going, because it takes a little bit longer now for a Dorius to actually get those heals out. That energy doesn't regen as quick as it used to, and it looks like so far this is actually a relatively even shot, but it looks like Slicks seems to be able to get the better handling on this one. Big shot and a solid back and forth battle. Looks like Detective LNA has one more round or one more loss to potentially make an adjustment.
Yes, let's analyze here the deck that Slicks has brought. It feels very similar to what we have seen, except, like you say, just throwing an Adorius.
Oh, I see why this is Spore and Revenant.
Why not? Oh, yes. We have 4 Revenants, 7 Rogues, 2 Vanguards, 3 Spore active, which is huge because enemies lose energy equal to a percentage of the caster's energy cost, so you make the enemy team cast less and slow everything down. Let's see it. Let's see the final, possibly final match here in lobby number 2.
The problem is here, you're going to be, you're stealing energy off of all of your Omegas and whatnot, but what Illuvial does not give a damn about its energy and just wants to shoot? Well, Skoriox. If you can actually get that thing locked down, then it is going to be in great shape. The Penguin, and that is going to be able to do it, but the Penguin is still very, very hurt. Very low on HP, but it's going to be able to clean things up. A solid back and forth again. Arctates to the skies with that Pyro Field is going to do some serious damage, but that is a 1v5. They're not going to be able to pull that one around. And in theory, that is it. That is all Slicks hype. Going to take game 1 here in our next lobby.
GG's, well played. I love that we were able to catch this. And there you go. Your prediction of the Rogue dominating, at least in this match, has come true. And, well, there is more to it, right? I love how Slicks was able to, it seems like, pull all the resources the game was giving him into one deck that just was working, like the Adorius and the Spore and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not like you just turned your brain off and went for Vanguard because Vanguard's strong, LOL. But no, you got the Revenant chip. It's like, okay, maybe let's pivot to this. But of course, we didn't see early. Maybe Revenant was the plan the whole time. But you see that chip, it's like, okay, how can I maximize this? Put more emphasis into the Vermiliaire, getting that on board. Heavy emphasis onto getting the Adorius, even though your rogues oftentimes die a little bit too quickly to even get the heal. And then even augment-wise here, what was that? Oh, it was actually augmented for the Umber to be the carry in this instance. But yeah, they got a little bit of everything here. That was just a incredible team here from Slicks.
Yeah, you love to see it. Really cool. I just want to analyze some of the stuff. We got max health here, so the Ranger got very, very tanky with plus 1200 health, plus another 20%, and then gain attack speed for every 5% missing health. So the lower it finally got, the more strong it became. Very well rounded. We got the Revenant on the slash in, and yeah, overall just a game-winning team as we saw right here.
First time we're seeing your Ranger in action there. It looks much better with that Lamborghini skin on it, I have to say. Looks good. But yeah, incredible game. And that's going to make things very, very interesting. Of course, we still got 2 more games here of our coverage here today. Because, of course, once those 2 games are done, we should have, in theory, our top 8 with the stats all being right here, full results.
Let's check it out. So, well, we just saw it basically. But yeah, we have Dr. Spoon winning. We got Slicks winning. And then at the other side of it, we got Not Complain, CQ Barico at the bottom. We have 2 more games, like you say, so nothing is written in stone yet. But the players I would probably want to highlight the most is what is going to happen to Fox Spirit, our absolute top performer so far in the quarterfinals and in the qualifiers. Only 3 points, only 6th place. And then Is Hollow and Dr. Spoon are going to keep it up. Sota also still someone to come back, definitely. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then on the other side, did somebody underperform? Do we think someone will perform better here? I think it's pretty good.
I don't know. All these players are kind of around the same skill level, in my opinion. So, like, I can't see in regards to massive underperforming. Zico Perico had their money caught out for them. I think in terms of collection score, theirs is probably one of the lower scores in this one, so they're definitely the underdog, so to speak, here in this one. So seeing them fall a little bit early, I mean, rooting for them, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't necessarily surprise me, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And then Squawk, I mean, that might be the only one that's like, wow, really? Okay, because I think very, very highly here of Squawk, so seeing 7th in that first game must definitely hurt a little bit, but again, this is a tough lobby.
That it is. And like you say, there is not really any under and over dogs anymore. We can always pull in past results, like, for example, how did they perform in the IPL and so on. But this is a new era, this is a new age, and you cannot really compare it. And all of these top 16 players deserve to be here. And I think it is also, I'm glad that nobody really underdog made it in, which means all the competitive efforts before with the qualifiers, with the best of 3 quarterfinals, were successful, and we really have the top 16 players, more or less, here gathered with us in the semifinals.
100%. And that's why with some of the players that we see here in this top group, it makes me very excited, because these have been players that have been grinding since prior to the Illuvium Pro League. Like after the Illuvium Pro League as well, when there was a little bit of a lull in terms of action, but things moved over to the ownership mode. These aren't necessarily all players that just saw a tournament, okay, cool, I buy event, I play an event. No, some of these players, like say Dr. Spoon, for example, Squawk, Sota potentially here as well, like, and Fox Spirit, this is their team. Their adventure started long ago with these alluvials, and they're here right now because of the work that they put in there. Didn't just pay to get the squad to then come compete. I'm not going to give anybody hell for doing it. That's one of the beauties of Web3 and being able to trade alluvials. You do you. But I have mad respect for those that have been grinding for this long.
Yes, sir. I feel you. All right. We are almost getting into game number 2. I don't think there will be a big break. But we're just I don't think they're quite ready, so we're gonna give the players 1 or 2 minutes. So we're gonna be right back with game number 2 here in the semifinals. Don't go nowhere. The action is just beginning. See you in a second. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Motorverse Cup, where 50,000 bucks are on the line in the Illuvium Arena tournament here. And we are down to game number 2 in the semifinals. And we're going to connect to lobby number 2 and see how they are going to perform in this match number 2.
Exactly. Hop over to their side, see how it's going. Been in incredible semifinals so far, only going to get better. Couple of the names that we thought were maybe going to pull through and place highly early on in the semifinals didn't necessarily end up having it. I know Fox is the one that pops up to my mind first. Unfortunately, a little bit of a low blow of sorts here for them, but still got plenty of time still to go into this one. Hop on over very, very shortly. And then just the fact that, let's see, we got Shard Bluff, which can sometimes be polarizing. Is this augments or legendaries? It is just a random augments. Okay, so just people are going to get items a little bit quicker than normal.
Yes, sir. A little bit of a hypercharged board strength here with extra augments and everything. That's also why people have lost a decent amount of life already. It feels like it's a bit more polarizing, and it feels like some players are gonna just stomp the others here in the early game. And we see a lot of fire here on the board, a lot of fire weapons as well. We have 2 boomerangs for Detective Allion and Fancy Pants. We have the Quake Maulers, Earth Rogue for Hasu, Earth Scion here for Slicks. Interesting pick. Let's see what he goes for. Probably a reroll later. Lava Gauntlet for Squawks. Mindbound Cleaver for Furies. Another Sprout card here for Seeker Perico. And last but not least, Aqua Blaster coming out from Fishy.
Yeah, so it seems like the 6 Fire Inferno Arcanite style seems to be the go-to so far in this tournament, with maybe Rogues and with Steam Harbinger kind of short to follow. Seeing the boomerangs and then seeing the Lava Gauntlet, that's all just screaming Inferno Arcanite. Again, we do see 2 Rogues this time by, 2 different styles. Hasu going to maybe play the Granite style or Dust style. Meanwhile, Furies, the tried and true, one of the first people I've been seeing long ago in the IPL using Verdant Vanguard. They're set up rather nicely to do so. Probably have Predator online nice and early here as well, or Revenant online, it looks like. But our first battle here, it's going to be Detective Alanay alongside Hasu. So 2 players very, very high up in terms of health pool as of this moment. Having the Revenant is going to be a nice little buff, but it's not the biggest buff that you could potentially get. The 4 Rogues on the other side might be a little bit of a better choice. We'll have to see how it ends up going right here. Revo rolling on through, going to do some serious damage to that Tiruro, but the Tiruro is still going to stand rather nicely, and even the Lilitipo in the middle going to hold the line rather nicely.
Yes, definitely not the best deck here. We see the Groko, the Atipu, both level 40. We got a level 50 Lynx. Here is a pretty decent level 60 Lynx, and yeah, overall, not a perfect deck, but outperforming their opponents pretty hard. Let's see if he can hold up versus Hasu here, who got a 60 almost perfect Lynx. The other one is also the same 60 and almost perfect, and yeah, we're looking across the board at a generally stronger team here for Hasu.
Yeah, and of course, having all those additional augments onto the Tiruro, while the Tiruro doesn't necessarily have a big Omega ability in its own right, what it does get is additional burst damage right off the start off its auto attacks. So if it can get some serious eliminations while also having that Echoing Force reactor on top of it, so it just stacks more crit amp and more damage, it can actually snowball rather early, and we're seeing it being done to some serious success here for Hasu to start things off.
Yes, sir. Hasu on 100 HP, and the bottom here finding themselves at just above 65 HP. So big damage coming out early. Is that going to change their decision about economy? No. Both sitting very healthy at 70, and they know, hey, if I lose health, I at least have to keep my economy up, because those are both resources, right? Your health pool and your money. You cannot lose both of them. So you at least want to keep a cool head, accept that you're losing health right now, and pull up your money to make the comeback later on.
As long as you can execute when the time comes. Yeah, exactly. It's a resource, and as long as you have one, you're good. Keep going. As we're now going to see Slick's Hype, of course, one of the winners from the past game's going to be coming on through here. Watching that Lynx just absolutely shred. It's got True Sight. It's got just a raw abundance of attack damage. And on top of that, it snowballs. This thing is built so brutally offensively, it's not even funny, while also being very high level. Very nice.
It had 515 damage in the end. which is quite crazy. There must have been some stacking augment and maybe some combat rhythm to go with it, double stacking.
Oh, they'll do it too, yep.
So that was quite crazy. Took down Hasu early, so I love to see that. Nobody running away with a big win streak like it usually happens. So it feels a little bit more balanced, at least for the top here. The bottom feels a little bit tough, so let's watch Furies and let's see how he gets out of his misery here, sitting at the very bottom, which I know it's by design right now. He's just playing the lose streak, but I feel like it's just more stressful. It is the harder route to go.
One thing that didn't make his choice any easier too, he did make the weapon switch over to the other version of a rogue weapon. So they went for the Quake Maulers as well, which means while they did have an opportunity before as this battle continues here to go from the Verdant style and maybe be able to get an earlier power spike, they're just going to go head to head up against Hasu, like 1-for-1, and that's a very scary spot to be in. But one thing that's pretty cool is the scariness of this damn drop bear. Holy smokes, it's the most damage I've seen a little Chikoro do in a long time. Was that Predator buff online? I don't think... Oh, yeah, it was. The Ranger did actually have themselves linked up to do so. So, yeah, that Chikoro really utilizing that additional crit from Rogue, having 7 Rogues, and then the Predator buff, as we see here, once they drop below 10% HP, those attacks, those auto attacks hit just that much harder.
Yeah, pretty cool to see Furies here pulling off the 7 Rogue double Predator. A very solid power spike early on to get out of the lose streak. Now Squawks is sitting at the bottom, and Furies is going to invest some of his gold, actually all of his gold, into trying to find his big units. He found the ram fight and the rake, so that's probably going to stabilize him for the mid game here that is coming up. And Squawks did the absolute same right below him. He found Goliath, he found also a ram fight, and is also looking to overcome the low HP pool.
That might be the unluckiest roll down high I've ever seen here going over for Furies. You're rolling down that early because you're trying to race what would end up being Hasu in this instance for Penguins and Laluras. Look at how many they actually got, though. There is only... It's not even a Lalura at this point. It's still just a little baby. And in terms of the Penguin, it's just one Penguin. How did that much gold get spent without a single damn Penguin really showing up? Same thing with the Mole. And on the other side, it's just not going for... very well here for Furies as well. Hasu was able to get up to Lalura. They still also are just sticking with the slap in, but at least they didn't blow their entire bank in order to do that. The one thing they do have going from at least is that they at least got ramp fight, which is pretty crazy here for level 7, as well as this rake. So they are still going to be able to have a relatively decent power spike here alongside that rake. As we see that rate strike doing some serious damage, going to be able to get that double kill. But I do worry if they can continue to snowball this, because relying on 2 big Omegas like this sometimes is not viable.
Yeah, it's definitely not the safest strategy for a win streak. It is going to save him for now, but it's going to be hard to build up a big win streak, the big glowing profile picture. Let's see if he gets there. Fancy Pants is one step closer to that, is probably earning 2 free gold per round already. And looking pretty decent here with a fire bulwark composition, fighters in there as well, and yeah, just overall strength and damage, like raw stats here coming out from Fancy Pants, and that's why he got this big win streak. Going back to the new bottom here with Detective Align from Ola. Let's see how they get out. Everybody found their ram fight, it feels like. Let's see if it's gonna have enough impact in this fight. It's definitely well positioned up in the corner, taking down some of the core units. The Forus also such a powerhouse here in the mid game, and they will likely be able to just finish off the Ranger. Nice. That's the last one standing. And Detective Alan also trying to stabilize, but when everybody in the bottom is trying to stabilize, somebody is still going down.
Oh, absolutely. And then I'm taking a look at some of these other team compositions coming on through here. I have to say, I'm a Fishies definitely interests me here. With the rise of there being so much fire in this game currently, I shout out to Zyfat for pointing this out here in the YouTube chat, but with the rise of so much fire, a big water team could absolutely crush this, but they need to find some sort of water carry. At least they found Sinolf. So that is definitely one way they can do it, but it looks like, of course, the Penguin and the Umber are going to be contested. But one thing they're doing to be just extra annoying, and it might actually fit into this pretty interestingly, this is a water team, but there's a Furiox here. So it's just taking one of the big carries here for a fire team, taking it away, while they also have Toxic online. The little Riptor is here, Caradulo's here to try and hold the line. As long as they can keep these two Scions alive, and as well as that Scorpion, they might be in great shape, as we're seeing an absolute beautiful shot from the Mammoth and the Sinolf combo. That's the alley-oop right there. Mammoth sets it up, Sinolf knocks it down, and that is going to be some fantastic play coming out here.
Wow. Dominating victory here for Amafishi with the beautiful water composition. Like you pointed out, taking away the Furiox is such a nasty move here and such a good move, really. Really identifying the need of the lobby, what counters them in terms of his own team, and in terms of what to take away from them. And sometimes I find it hard to take away units from my enemies without screwing myself over, but in this case he was able to integrate that contesting unit perfectly into his team, so love to see it. Going down to the bottom here, we have Furies with the 7 Rogues, 3 Revenants trying to break Fancy Atlas team.
One thing I'm very curious about here from Fancy Pants on the red side of things is they've actually opted for Inferno Berserker. The only Berserker that's currently online was that Monk Gear that just got absolutely chopped. They have a Furiox, and they could have very well gone for Arcanite to let that thing go nuts, but by going Berserker, that unfortunately that Furiox was going to end up being half-baked, and it just did not perform up to this label they were looking for. The Arctace actually led in damage there after getting a pretty decent Pyro Field, but it's still just missing out damage. Even with that Breach Pulse Reactor, able to really amplify that shield or that damage when hitting a shield, but still not enough damage.
Yeah, it was a really good augmentation. It was actually a double Breach Pulse Reactor, and those are so good on the Arctace because it does AoE damage, so it hits many units at the same time, and one of them is going to have a shield. So it's going to proc that effect, and if you can constantly proc that effect, this is going to be an overperforming augment right here. Which is why this was just so much damage coming out from that unit. Down to the bottom again, it's Furies still at 17 health. Now going up versus Amafishi, which he could be the only one to break this team because he doesn't have any fire, or he has some fire units, but he has a well-rounded composition, so Hyper is not going to be such a big issue. But Amafishi, he looks scary. He has such a tanky front line with the Mammoth, with the Caradulo, with that Axon. By the way, Holo, level 60 and perfect. Love to see that one. And yeah, I don't think Furies can break through here, but we'll see.
Yeah, this is extremely heartbreaking, actually, too. Hasu got the jump on the Furies. Rather than waiting for the NPC round to finish, they rolled early, got Malura. Furies, Malura would have been the big pickup to actually make this team truly start to shine. But with it being now in Hasu's pocket on their team, trying to find it, it's not impossible, but the chances are so low. They have to hope that Hasu ends up going down first, and you have to survive round after round. And actually, Amafishi looking mortal here. This beautiful squad from Furies is still going to get the job done, even though it's still missing some pretty key pieces. That Sinolf, it tried its damnedest, but could not quite get the job done.
Yeah, crazy. Ramp fight, it did enough. It took down a few units with its Omega, and that was all it needed to really break that corner composition. It's all about how fast can you get the first 1, 2, 3 kills on the front line and break open the clump. If that doesn't happen fast enough, you're screwed. But it was able to get in there. I think Ramfight also took some aggro. It was also tanky with the Bulwark chip. Yeah. Anyway, it was well played and nice to see. And here we are on an elimination match, maybe. Furies versus Squawks, both in lethal damage areas of their HP pool. Let's see how that one turns out.
I mean, normally when you see a Furiox, you wonder what the heck's going on. But I mean, when everybody's going to be diving behind you, it's in good positioning. Furiox has all the time in the world to just open fire on everybody. Ramp Bite to the skies is not going to get the damage out in time. It's going to die in before anything ends up coming down. But that Stabbin still very, very healthy. It is going to go hit that 2-tapper onto that Furiox with the help of the Ranger. Ooh. But now it is going to be a 1-on-2. But the Pangu, we know what it can do even when it's sitting in the pyro field. It's flossing in the pyro field on top of those Poodle Moths like it's no big deal. Beautifully done there. Bite a little Stabbin to get the job done.
I love it. I love the flossing. You got me there. Oh, I forget that Stabbin is the only one that actually is emoting on you while it's Absolutely demolishing you. Okay, sorry, I didn't want to laugh when Squawks is dying here, but that was a beautiful moment. And yeah, Squawks is out in last, but it's not going to be the least of his efforts as we have one more game coming up. But for now, it's going to be the last 7 players fighting to get into a top 4 spot. And the only player that is looking really healthy right now is Slicks, sitting at 70 health. Second player, 36 health. And Slicks won the last game already, so this looks very much like Slicks pretty much is in the grand finals already. Of course, nothing is sure, but I would bet on this as we see Fancy Pants and Furies here in the bottom. Let's watch Furies versus Hasu, the 2 rogues fighting each other.
Yeah, this is actually huge because if a certain win goes either way, one of them could get knocked out, adding all of those additional rogues to the pool, which would especially be huge for Furies because, again, the Malura right in the middle, the perfect little tank for this. Dives right on through, going to dodge, I think, that ramp fights Omega. That was pretty solid. Stabin is still alive. Does it still have its phase breaker, though? It's the Vanguards up against 4. There it goes, the Infernal Skyfall. Decent damage coming on through, but the Vanguards stand tall alongside the Fur Knight as backup. And with that Fur, it's going to be Furies. The perfect amount of damage, unfortunately, to their health bar to knock them out of this game.
Yes, the only maybe thing that could lift his mood is that Fancy Pants got knocked out in the same round with just 1 HP less. So he was able to squeeze into 6th position.
Sheesh, close.
But definitely heartbreaking, so close of really bringing his team together and really finding the key units. Okay.
Big
21 versus 21.
I'm a fishy. Yep, this is kind of huge here. Dualef is here. Right in the corner, of course, see that big old pistol shrimp. If they could get a decent shot, in fact, it's going to get a shot towards that Quinks over in the corner. That's going to go right through. It actually dodges the Malura, but it took down the ramp fight, so that's a solid trade-off. Where's this next one? Right into the Fern. It's going right through the Penguin. That's the worst-case scenario, and the rest of the squad will end up getting deleted, and there's a lot of Illuvials on field. Is that a kill shot? No. Hasu going to survive with 2.
Wow, that was 2 perfect lasers. The first one actually killing the Quinks, really important. Because what happens many times is that corner Illuvial that's supposed to soak up the laser can survive and soak up a second one, which is awful for the Dualef player. But it was able to kill the backline unit and then the second laser just going through all the key units with the Slash and with the Ranger. Love to see it. And we got Hasu and Detective, both on 2 HP now. One of them dropping out next round.
Yeah, every round mattering here. Of course, every spot matters when it comes to points. Even if you think you're going to be in a spot where you're in the best case scenario, you just want to secure that trip into the grand finals tomorrow morning. It'll be absolutely incredibly exciting. And it's kind of scary here for Detective LNA and for Hasu. Like, you're stuck playing essentially perfectly for the rest of this game. Otherwise, you'll be absolutely cooked.
Of course,
and they have to play each other. Yes. Oh boy.
Yes, because earlier I said one of them is going to be out next round, which doesn't have to be the case if they both win their opponent. But, well, worse came to worse, and one of them is actually going to be out. And we are in the Colosseum. They're going to fight till the death. Sucks for them. Lovely for us. And we're going to see how that one goes. It's going to be the rogues on the side of Hasu, 7 rogues, Bloom, Vanguard, versus the 5 fighters, 3 Arcanite, Inferno. It's looking so strong.
A lot of last-second upgrades. Slashin' is here, but on the other side, Detective Alanay also has the Phosphorus. We have some serious carries in this fight. Good Infernal Skyfall, and there are phase breakers on all the major carries. So far, Phosphorus looks like they're getting the better of everybody, but that is a snowballing Penguin. Phosphorus onto the Penguin. Oh god, the Vanguard's just literally 2-tapped it. That's going to be Hasu coming in clutch here, going to take down Detective Alanay.
Hasu holding on with that Penguin of your nightmares. Not flossing anymore, but doing a Carlton dance or whatever you want to call it. Love to see it. The 2 Vanguard brothers here united next to each other, holding on to 2 HP. All shiny and blinking. That's because they are unique owned Illuvials. Which is fun that we still have that to all of them. Little effect. Alright, what we got? Top 4. Congratulations to all these players. Slicks down to 15 HP. When did that happen? I swear 3 rounds ago he was at 70 something.
Well, in the name of Fox Spirit on Discord, they would say, well, it's because they're playing useless scions. And honestly, it definitely feels that way as of this moment. Unfortunately, if you find your scions quick enough, you can be in great shape, but it's such a like a late game strategy that absolutely plummets in the mid game, like we're seeing right here. Still stuck with all of those augments onto an Alfie. That is kind of brutal. But we're gonna have our next round here. Let's see what we got going here. Hasu has to take on lobby leader. I'm a fishy who might be lobby leader, but they can still go down here. This is 21 HP. Where is that dual F? It goes directly towards the Quank. It's gonna delete everything there. But does that slash and stay alive? It's gonna be a random light of fire. Untargetable. Doesn't freaking matter if you're sitting in a beam of water. It's gonna go down, and there we go. Dual F coming in clutch. That's gonna knock Hasu right out of there. Slicks now. Zico Perico, both with 15 HP. This is definitely a kill shot as well. The Mammoth doing a decent job of keeping everybody at bay. Can it actually launch somebody maybe into that Blazonite? Doing fantastic work. It's actually going to shoot it to the front line, right into the tank line. Big ol' stun onto 4. Beautiful shot. Furiox here on the green side here for Slicks doing some serious work, but it does have True Sight. It does have that disruptive force reactor on top of it, so it's getting more attack speed, and it does not care about that Krunk's blind. But it's going to be open fire upon. Overtime coming on through, but there's the Adoritos on both sides, keeping everybody topped off at once. TNT gets the Furiox on the right side. Zico Perico is going to end up going down in the end here. Was that enough to kill? Yes, it was. Zico Perico enough to get third, though. So a fantastic shot nonetheless. But now it's heads up with I'm a Fishy, Slicks, Hype Squad on top.
What a play-by-play masterclass here from Silent, doing 2 games at the same time, and both of them so freaking exciting. We are down to the heads up. I'm a Fishy versus Slicks. This might be the final match. And what are we looking at? We have a corner composition here. I'm a Fishy with the off-meta, I would say, build here, coming in with the water units versus another Scion-heavy team. So we have the 2 Scions against each other, and we have here the last laser coming out for the dual F. No, it's gonna stay alive. It's gonna have one more laser, one more shot, but the green team is just healing, and it's spread out. There is no clump of units that the laser will hit. Last unit here, the Rake, not enough to take it home, and I'm a Fishy is gonna be knocked out at second. Slicks takes his second victory here in the semifinals, and will, by default, make grand finals right here.
No, fantastic run here from Slicks, especially here in this top 16, and they played that to perfection. I know as a Scion player myself, the one unit that pisses me off among all others is Flood and Geyser, because it's just such a beefy fella. You stick it into the corner, and especially if your composition relies heavily on the pistol shrimp, whether it be the Sinolf or the Dual F, you're just firing water shots into that Flood, and it's just kind of sitting there like, well, what? I'm going to squirt some water back at you. Like, no big deal. I tank these. And every single one of those shots just going directly into the Flood. It doesn't care. All the other alluvials moved around the beam, so it's basically a nothing burger. So it just absolutely took the biggest damage source from I'm a Fishy, completely negated it, and was able to clutch it up. Even the Sinolf on the side of Slicks was able to get some serious damage done, but just bought enough time. And there we go. Scion's not so useless. Hell yeah, let's go.
I love it, honestly. Like, we were sure that Rogue and at least 6 Fire must be the meta, and suddenly we see the 2 Scions on top, which is the complete opposite, and thought it would be off meta. So it feels like so much is viable. You have to just play what the game gives you, and play against your opponent, especially like countering their affinities. And yeah, it's a masterclass right here from Slicks and I'm a Fishy, and Slicks takes a second victory. Definitely quickly turning into one of the tournament's favorites here, for me at least.
Absolutely. And in regards to the meta, there is one thing that I can at least still say. While Silence might be showing up now, Invoker is not. We have not seen a single Aphisto this entire tournament. Somebody pulled out an Octius earlier just to kind of splash it in there with an air team, I think. But otherwise, like, just Invoker still completely falling off. No Seaforest, or maybe there was one like earlier in the day. But nobody is actually trying for any sort of late game ramping up kind of style. As we see here with that fight, just over and over again, these shots from the pistol shrimps going directly into the Flood. The Flood does eventually end up going down, but at that point, so has the rest of your team. So what does it matter?
Yeah, beautiful positioning there by Slicks, just spreading out against the lasers. And yeah, a Dual F is not as like a good position. Sinalf brings way more value than a dual F that is firing into some into some empaths.
100%. Yeah, because when it goes good, it goes great, but it is telegraphed, and you don't have to position into it. It's a little bit rough if you're trying to play bunker versus bunker, because then something's going to get hit. But if you're able to actually spread out like that, even if your team is more suited for a corner composition, if there's nothing going to dive at you and immediately crush you, it's actually way worth it to be away from your healer, just so you don't get blasted by dual F. So fair enough. Good play. Very, very good play. I'm happy to see that. Slicks on an absolute roll here. Looking very, very good. If I recall correctly, that's what, 2 wins now, or at least 2 top 2s. We'll have to see the results here in a second, but sitting very good here in this top 16.
Yeah. Top 16, Slicks, 2 wins, 16 points, 2 times 8. Well played. And yeah, perfect semifinals here from him. He's going to feel good about that. Doesn't matter too much if you don't perform tomorrow in the grand finals, but he's in that. Even if he gets last place now, I believe he's still qualified for the grand finals. So congratulations to him already. We have all the scores coming in. We're just gonna quickly sort them, and then we're gonna check it out and see which game we're gonna spectate next, because the next game we're gonna spectate the one that has the most like tight results for us.
100%. Yeah, with Slicks getting the 2 wins there, that's at least we know that are moving on fourth for sure. And that is still an absolute big deal, because I mean, we saw the prizing, right? What'd you say? It was like a triple the prizing just to qualify to tomorrow. So yeah, they're already having a fantastic weekend, these last 2 weekends. So all worth it there. Obviously, you're going to want to push for more, and especially for Slicks, I know personally I'd love to see them on top here, break that second place streak of sorts, and find themselves with a win. Of course, they were second place in the Illuvium Pro League, if I recall correctly, and so close many times to winning events, but just unfortunately not going for them. And as it stands right now, it looks like actually Slicks' lobby might be the closest. I don't know. Not complains. Not complaining Thanatos and Ariba, they're all kind of far away at this point here. Oh, yeah. Fox, what happened?
Oh no, 3 and last. God, that means he's pretty much out. If he wins, he gets 12 points, and if Dr. Spoon gets last, he has also 12, which would win him the tiebreaker. Maybe there's some mathematical chance still, but I feel really bad for him. That's what I meant with polarizing. He was the best player until he's the worst player in the tournament. And it is just sad to see that it happens at this stage where it's going to be a knockout. But let's focus on the bright side of things. On the top, we got Lamborghini right here with 2 second places, 14 points. Super consistent performance. We got Sota here with 5 and 8 points, pulling in at 13. Aroldo, 12, Dr. Spoon, 11. And then, yeah, we got a big gap down to Not Complaining Thanatos, Nareba, and Fox Spirit, all sitting at 6, 6, 6, and 4. So it feels like Group A is almost, like you say, decided. We already have...
It's basically there, yeah.
Yeah, we have a huge gap between top 4 and bottom 4. Which, again, kind of confirms that we have like a decent group there. And yeah, we're gonna watch group number B, because there we can still, a lot upsets can still be happening. We got Squawks pretty much out of the tournament. At this point, they can still try to improve their positioning. But we got Furies, Seiko Perico, Fancy Pants, and Hasu, all 4 players in 1 point range. So they're gonna be fighting for that 4th position.
And remember when Hasu was talking about earlier that they didn't think their team was up for this? That they were a little bit like too far behind, they couldn't do it? Well, how about that? They're holding the line just barely and able to potentially base off of tiebreaker. I'm not 100% sure. Fancy Pants has the 3rd compared to the 4th, but we'll get there when the time comes. We still got another game to get there. I'm not to you. I'm not going to worry about that. So all good there. But yeah, 4 players easily within range of getting that final spot, and that is absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, here for the Group A side of things, though, that one definitely, for it to switch up at all, there would have to be an absolute catastrophic failure from some of these players up in the top 4. So Group B is 100% my pick for the next match.
Yeah, let's do it. It's still gonna. I'm still very curious after we watch the match to see the results of Group A, because it's still very likely that one of the top 4 goes like last and one of the bottom 4 goes first. Like there can still a lot of upsets happening, but yeah, the more tight race is definitely in Group B. But all the best of luck to all the players, and yeah, if you're in top, just play cool. Don't risk it all, and don't get too nervous. It's just you're just gonna have a pay jump from $750 to $2,250 guaranteed. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, like you're still getting something at the end of the day. Your efforts will absolutely be rewarded. It's just a matter of how much, so to speak. And also to keep in mind as well, when we are picking up the lobbies, let's see which region they're at. If they're at Crimson Waste, where we're getting the additional damage every single time you lose, there's a world where we can do both these games back to back.
Yeah, 100%. Wait, I did a little mistake here, but it actually gives me an opportunity to show something. Because I shouldn't have joined yet, so I'm in the lobby. I won't be playing with you guys. Don't worry. Don't get scared now. But I wanted to show all the players and all of their like the different drones with their skins.
Oh yeah, we don't see this too often.
Yeah. Beautiful.
The TOs are gonna freak out at you for a second here, though. They're like, hello, why are you're about to play? Yeah, here we go. Illumination coming on through here for the qualification. Let's go. No, that'd be funny.
Sorry, guys.
Secretly, the streamer slot was me all along.
That would have been funny. But yeah, I love to see all the different customizations and skins coming through from the players. And funny to sneak in for a second. Squawk right here in chat. Well played, man. Top 16 is incredible, right?
Absolutely. Don't hurt for that. That's extremely respectable and incredible.
That's something to celebrate, and I see you already doing that when I read chat, so congratulations. Like 16th is definitely something to be proud of, and really cool you made it this far. Let's see how the other players are going to be doing.
I miss being able to craft my own skins. I'm just doing the watch back here on the YouTube side of things. I miss that. Taking my blueprints and crafting everything. It just makes me more excited for when the potential of there being additional utility again once the MMO comes out, MMO Lite, correction, comes out, and Zero, and it all starts to come together a little bit. Because I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit of an odd spot, right? We're kind of in the calm before the storm, so to speak. Of course, deathmatch right around the corner, Obelisk Rising showing up sometime later this year. How does Arena fit into that as the Pokemon champions of sorts of the MMO? How does Illuvium Zero support it? There are still so many questions, but it all leads to some exciting time. So it might be the calm before the storm, but I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's really cool. Like the vision is still there, everything interconnected games and so many different products that have such a high quality, I would say. If you look at Arena, like the quality is there, right? The art is absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
The gameplay has become better and better. The balance, I feel like, is just really good, something to be proud of. Big shout out to Neil right here, where we have seen Scion, we have seen Fighters, we have seen Rogues, we have seen Water, we have seen Toxic and Aegis and Arcanite, and so on, like the Vanguard and Spore. Like everything is being played, which must be so hard to balance. So big shout out to the team. And yeah, the vision is there, the product is awesome, it just all needs to come together, and also a bit of support from the outside world, from the market, and it's gonna be smooth sailing.
Yeah, like especially with Illuvium, I still think that this is the best auto battler out there, and I think this is a fantastic take on creature capture turning into competition in terms of battling. Do you think I enjoy clicking click move, watch animation take 30 seconds to actually go, watch health bar move? Nah, that's all outdated. It's not 1999 anymore. I absolutely love seeing what we got here with the Illuvium Arena. I argue that it's almost in perfect spot where it needs no more work. It just needs a way for newcomers to be able to actually get in and start experiencing it a little bit. And that's the only thing that we need. And I'd argue we have an incredible, perfect game. Let it be. Let's focus on the MMO. But of course, that's just incredible. And I know for the Web3 space, it's an absolute standout. I know that's probably why a lot of you are here today, because it's probably one of the best, if not the best game currently in the Web3 space. But I'd argue can go much further than just Web3.
100%. Like it has been a tough goal or a tough vision that Illuvium has set themselves, because the goal was always to bring mass adoption to Web3, to bring the gamers, the full gaming market, which is the biggest media entertainment industry in the world. It dwarfs movies and music and all of those huge giants. Gaming is incredibly big, and Illuvium is trying to breach that gap between Web3 and Web2. So yeah, obviously it's not gonna be easy, but if it happens, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough task, but I know that's why I'm here. I'm not a crypto guy. I'm not a Web3 guy. I was a traditional esports guy. Like I said before, I was casting StarCraft, like Overwatch and Valorant, League of Legends before this. I wasn't anywhere near any sort of cryptos. Well, I didn't know what it was until looking into Illuvium. And I love this. And I know there's many more like me right now. So let's keep pushing. The vision's there.
Yes, sir. I'm like you. I came in as knowing nothing about Web3 and crypto, and I just loved the idea of combining my favorite games, TFT, Pokemon, and maybe some like open world, you know, all of the Pokemon we always dreamed about, like some 3D MMO Pokemon things. So it's just amazing. Okay.
It's a long way to go, but it's still looking good. I know plenty of awesome things around the corner, I'm sure. But we do, of course, have our next and our final game here for our top 16. Crystal Shore is going to be the pickup once again. Is this a free reroll on every round or fusion? It is the fusion one. So might test your APM ever so slightly here in this early game, so to speak. But we also have weapons coming on through if you want to run those down.
Let's do it. It looks a little bit different than before. We have more air weapons. We got Tempest Lance here, Air Bulwark for Squawks, Galewind Bow, Air Fighter for Fancy Pants, the Quake Maulers for Detective Align, Aqua Blaster, Sika Perico, Mindbound Cleaver, Fury's going for the Rogues, Earth Bulwark, Amber Bastion for Hasu, and Slick sticking to the Boomerang. Must be very happy to be the only fire weapon here in this round. And then the title shift Water
crazy,
Rogue
actually.
Going for I'm a Fishy.
So is that 2 rogues and then or 3 rogues even actually this time, because we got the water variant, and then only 1 potential Inferno Arcanite. I mean, Slicks, they've already essentially qualified, but if they wanted to just run over this lobby, I mean, they're in a fantastic position to take one of the strongest teams completely uncontested, which is kind of crazy to see.
It is kind of crazy. It feels like everybody playing fire feels like it's the meta. Slick's proving them wrong, and then when everybody plays the other thing he was playing, he goes back to fire and it's like, psych, it is actually the best. So,
I mean, there is a little bit of a mental game here with all this, right? Like, well, let's be honest, even myself, I thought that we were going to be coming on in here with rogues absolutely dominating everything. And a lot of people started playing rogues, and then people are like, well, actually, yeah, rogues were good, but I had the counter right here this entire time. It's like, okay, wait a minute, maybe that's the team to go to. Well, I mean, sure, go ahead and play that. But I got this in the corner for that for the entire time. So it's an interesting game of mental as well. And of course, it also depends on which weapon shows up for you, right? Like, people could have been shooting for that boomerang, and it just didn't show up for them. So you got to pivot. You got to prove that you're not a one-trick and see what you got.
Yeah, one of the most interesting intricacies of the weapon system is, like, picking early the boomerang to showcase, hey, don't contest me. Like, don't also pick boomerang because we're gonna screw each other over with the same weapon. Or pick it late to then see what others pick and counter the enemy pick. So I think like small details like this that that increase the skill ceiling are so important and so cool to see.
No, absolutely. Because, yeah, if a strong team seems like it's just left out, then by all means, even if it's not your main, you can kind of go for it. One thing I'm kind of surprised that somebody actually went for here is Detective Alané, the big Valente coming on through, Exalted Air Valente. You don't see too many of these fully evolved tier 0s coming on through. And it might be just a little pancake of an assassin, but I mean, it hits like an absolute truck. And it does, of course, have that silence that can still be used in the late game. I would not be surprised if we go with Detective Alané here, that eventually that Valente does come off the field and then go onto the bench. But I don't think they're going to ever get rid of this. I imagine if they're going up against, say, like potentially a Scion or like a Sinolf or something along those lines, or if they have to go up maybe even against a Furiox that's wide open, throw the Valente in there. It could do some serious burst damage to potentially turn the game.
Yeah, I love to see it, and he has one of them, which means by default there are at least level 40, and it also has decent stats, full attack damage stat, good attack speed, so this one is hitting like a truck. We see it go toe-to-toe with the Lynx here. Lynx is gonna beat it, especially also because it has 2 augments, but it was enough to do enough damage then for the other units to take it down, and it looks like a big win here for Detective Align. It's not gonna be enough. Yeah, it is. Pulling out ahead, and let's look at the top here. Fancy Pants on a win streak.
And yeah, with that Valente, it's basically an Illuvial that will just 1-for-1 trade for the most part. Just make sure you get enough damage on it that something else can clean it up short to follow, similar to what we'd see in other like FPS esports, where I guess the term refragging, so to speak. Like, I went down, but I hurt him a little bit. You turn the corner and finish him off. That's kind of the job of the Valente, so to speak, in this one here. But now we do take a look at the very, very top. Again, Detective Alané's here as well. But look at Fancy Pants with a couple of pretty... How the heck did you find a Jokul at level... What is this, level 5? How in the world they are setting up for Air Behemoth extremely quickly? That being said, that Jokul actually got taken down rather quickly. The Valente coming out here from Detective Alané did some serious work, but the rest of the squad from Fancy Pants are going to eventually just coincide and crush them. That was actually Dust Berserker coming on through here from Fancy Pants. So while we were focusing pretty heavily onto the Jokul, the monk here said, okay, I'll just I'll have my fun right now and just completely crush on through alongside the Lynx.
Yeah. And meanwhile, the Lynx was like, all right, you guys do your affinities and your fancy synergies. I'm just going to do true damage and completely dominate the early game like I like to do. What I was so surprised about is level 50, absolute, like perfect stats. 6 out of 6 and holo. Like the collector in me is loving this. This is as good as it gets. Obviously, Dark Holo would be even better, but I don't think there is even one Dark Holo 6 out of 6 stats in the game. Maybe there's 1 or 2. We have millions of assets from the 100,000s of players that have played the overworld over the years, but love to see it. And Fancy Pants, I checked the rest. A lot of his Illuvios level 40, level 30, level 45. Like, by no means a perfect deck here, but on a win streak, doing well. Like, it doesn't mean if you don't have the perfect deck, you cannot compete, right? It just gives you that little bit of edge. And at this stage, in the top 16, especially in the top 8, everybody will have really good decks that can compete with the top players.
Okay, Jokul, just casually eating that Lynx for breakfast. That was an interesting one right there. That chomp coming in at the right time. And then for those unaware, you may have saw the fact that Jokul looks a little bit different. It's got that little rainbow kind of feeling to it there. That is the equivalent, if you think of Pokemon and you think of shinies, well, that is a shiny, so to speak, here in the Illuvium world, where there's the holo variant, where it's the bright rainbow. If you see a dark holo sometime, it's just like the black version of a rainbow. It's much, much darker. Those are these super, super rare variants. The holos are still very rare, especially finding one that is competitively fit. So to see that Jokul coming on through, the fact that they've got another one on the bench, or onto the field now, what on earth is Fancy Pants doing? I am loving it, though. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I love that. Just because if you're going for the stage 3, you're going to need 3 of those copies. But if you have this sitting on your bench, that's 12 gold. 12 gold sitting on your bench. That's going to be so bad for your economy. Put it in play, and you're going to have a way stronger board and something to bridge the time between until you get a stage 3. Yeah, he's only missing 2 of them. At which point, he might just have a perfect game here in the 3rd game.
Yeah, and level 7's kind of early to be able to pull this off. Like, the chances aren't the worst possible, not like going at level 5 or something along those lines. But you want to hit at least usually level 8 before you really start looking for tier 4 Illuvials. So the fact that their Fancy Pants is level 7, 2 mules away from being able to get Jotun would be absolutely incredible. Of course, we've seen Behemoth and how strong it was earlier in today. I believe it was our second game of the day where we saw the Seer and the Jotun go absolutely nuts. Well, they're already very close to being able to do so, and it would really rub Slicks the wrong way here if they were able to get that, because Slicks is doing this the traditional way, not going for those tier 4s until they're higher level. They have a little polar bear there, but if they're going to try and evolve this thing, it is going to be absolutely contested. But otherwise, that polar bear is completely uncontested. So Fancy Pants might be able to get some Behemoth very quickly. They have the right weapon for this as well. If that Ranger then bonds to a tank, all of a sudden now you have 2 Behemoth extremely early, even if you ignore Seer, which is very powerful. So I'm actually very impressed so far here with Fancy Pants.
Yeah, and we got to remember, Fancy Pants is one of those players that is in contention for the 4th play. So I just want to remind everyone, we have Fancy Pants, Hasu here in 2nd place, also sitting at 8 points, both of them. Then we have Siku Perico at 7 points. And then we have Furies as well. So Fury's the only one looking a little bit dire right now, sitting currently in last, which doesn't mean much yet. He still has 40 HP. But the first 3 players are actually the players that need a good finish to squeeze into the grand finals. So that's really interesting.
Absolutely. Now we have the top 2 currently in action. Of course, the double polar bears coming out here from Fancy Pants, but we do have a little bit of a corner comp coming out here on the other side for Hasu. They have that Furiox online. It's got some pretty decent augments as well. The longer this game goes, the faster it's going to shoot, and it is doing percent health base damage. So the more those shots come on out, just the more you're going to be able to absolutely drain these polar bears. And it's looking very, very successful so far. Fancy Pants is finally going to get their first loss after that Furiox just had all day to essentially ramp up and go crazy.
And Hasu, crazy board here with the Auto Rado. Brings a lot of value. And straight into the next game, this is going to be rough because I'm a fishy. Oh, he still has 80 gold, but he has all those stage 1s. Look at that. We have Exalted
hang on here.
Gorilla. Are we going for Mud here?
This is the first time we're seeing Mud, at least on stream, and I'm officially taking a big risk. Mud in its current state, I mean, if we were to have remembered back with the Illuvium Pro League, Mud was, of course, extremely hard to hit. But if you did actually get 4 Mud, it was almost a guarantee of a top 2. That has not been the case, though, in the current meta as of the last couple of patches. Mud is still very strong, but the guarantee is nowhere near as strong as it used to be. And actually, this version that they're playing right now isn't even based around the Exalted Monk Gear, which is usually the traditional carry. It's actually built around the Exalted Gorilla. This is Predator for Mud. But can that gorilla actually stay alive? No, not a chance. Actually, no, yes, it is. It's actually crushing on through. I always thought it was in the red side for a second there. It blended on through and kind of baited me a little bit. But this is looking incredible now. Fancy Pants, who was doing very well in this game, got absolutely crushed by it. So for Mud, the risk was there. But I'm a fishy. This very well could be the turnaround, but they don't have much health left.
Wow. That also the range of damage being a Mud Predator was so high, and maybe I'm a fishy has found a little sneaky meta read here with a, by the way, level 60 perfect gorilla. You love to see that, and all the other ones are looking pretty good as well. And we already have a Kara Dulux. We already have also the Chukundi, the drop bear stage 3. Also perfect level 60. So there is a lot, like everything fell into place here for Amafish. Let's see if it's going to continue to do so.
Chacondi's in a beautiful spot. That is going to be, of course, that Furiox in the back line with that blinding cloud coming on through. But thankfully, though, that is an Immunis Void Reactor onto that Furiox, so it's going to be immune from the blind, at least for the first couple seconds of this fight. But look at that. The rest of just pure raw damage coming out here from this Mud Squad is coming in beautifully. That wasn't even the Exalted Gorilla leading the charge. That was the Chacondi doing all that damage, over 8,000 in just a couple of seconds.
Yes, sir. We got 12%, below 12%, they execute those Predators. And they also deal 250% extra damage, which is crazy. But this execute is going to be so strong versus those big bulwarks that can be so much damage. 12% of their health can be amazing. And yeah, I'm a fishy. I'm rooting for him. This is such a cool composition. The first time we're seeing Mud again. And he's looking good. Decent economy as well, not sitting down at 0, which can often be the moment where you run out of steam. but everybody pushing their money in, it seems like, because it is the last game of the semifinals. People are fighting for every HP point.
Absolutely. And then props to I'm Fishy as well. Normally when you go for mud, you spend so much credits in trying to actually make that team work that you get stuck at like level 6 and level 7 for a long time and can't actually level up. But we are seeing they're already level 8. They've done it quite nicely. I love the addition of the rogue chip onto the app-on that turns into a diving stun bot, which actually stopped that Alfie the first time by. Second shot does go into the gorilla, but look, it's just a little Alfie. They just two-tap that thing like it was nobody's business. Big damage once again. I'm a Fishy, just has to deal with this damn rake, and there it goes. Coney gonna finish the job there quite nicely. I'm a Fishy hype on the climb once again. Lots of players starting to fall, including Furies and Fancy Pants. Probably 2 more lives for everybody. Squawk as well, 2 lives left.
Yeah, we're gonna revisit I'm a Fishy later on because I don't think he has trouble breaking into the top 4 at this point. We're gonna see how Furies is gonna attempt to do so because he's playing Rogues, but it feels like Rogues at this point of the game, you either sitting on top and you found it all and are feeling good, or you didn't find everything and it's gonna be so hard to play, like you say, perfect Illuvium from here on out, which he almost has to do. 2 lives left with this HP pool. It's gonna be so tough to find a place in the top 4 with this.
That's heartbreaking because of course they're pushing for that verdant Vanguard kind of style, which normally, at least in the past games here in this meta, I'd say, okay, it's because people are contesting it, but nobody's contesting the Penguin. They're finally going to be able to get this thing. Malura as well. There we go. That's exactly what they were looking for. The true verdant Vanguard is online. The devastating Vanguard duo that we know, love, and sometimes despise is here and ready to go. If they can potentially get a good dive here onto this one, it will be very clever. Hello, Kronk. Good. This. Yeah, your blind is going to be critical in potentially slowing this down. Otherwise, it could be an absolute run over with these Vanguards.
Yeah, I'm just zooming in a little bit. I want to showcase the cars. I want to showcase the Illuvials. And if you believe it or not, I am playing right now, or I'm viewing this at the lowest possible graphic settings because I just want to keep the system nice, smooth, and steady, and because it looks so freaking good anyway, which always amazes me. Back to the match though. Everyone tries to break into this clump composition, and here comes the Ram fight. Omega dealing somewhat of decent damage. It's not gonna matter. It's gonna be healed up again, but the slash in, the Vanguards on the outside are just slashing their way into the backline, and they're too tanky on top of their damage. And 25,000 damage here for the slash in. Easy pickings for the Furies, and he has a fighting chance.
Oh, this next match will be very exciting, though. It's Furies versus I'm a Fishy, Mud versus the Rogues. So this is going to be probably done very quickly, one way or another. And I love what I'm a Fishy is looking for here as well. If you can potentially, once you go for Mud, like you already got the Monk here, right? The Exalted Monk here. So you've got that Berserker already online. If you can pair this thing up with Rip Lance, you're just adding yet another devastating alluvial coming on through. Your single damage or single target damage goes absolutely through the roof between this Gorilla, the Monk Gear, and then the Rip Lance. Looking forward to seeing how this one ends up going, but the Cardelox has a lot to try and tank. Here come the Rogues.
Here he comes. Here comes the first stun of the up on hitting most of the core units. Cardelox hanging on for quite a while, but goes down in the end. Gnarl still sitting pretty comfortably here in the middle. Goes down as well, and the slash in. The Vanguards, they are just out of control. Again, 22,000 damage. We have the stacking, attack damage, and crit damp. So important. We got the untargetable, and we got the Void Reactor becoming immune for the first 15 seconds, which is a huge choice. Just not being able to be stunned or disrupted in any way.
And of course, that Immunus Void Reactor also does give you a little bit of Omega power, you and an ally, some Omega power over time. You think of Slashing as just strictly an auto attacker, but on that Super Surger, you do get a little bit of bonus damage as well based off of your Omega power. So getting a little bit of Omega power onto a Slashing, not a bad idea. It just makes it hit that much more like a truck. And this also, by using the Immunus Void Reactor, makes it extremely safe. They do end up making a bit of a switch. You're going to put that Immunus Void Reactor onto the Malura instead now, it looks like. But they still have a very safe Penguin. It's now the Overflowing Impact Reactor, which is a big ol' shield that also gives you a ton of damage once you drop to about, I believe it was 40 HP or so. So this is going to be scary for Zico Perico. They do have the Umber and the Sinov, but can the shots find the right targets?
And I love to see this, just changing out augments depending on the enemy team. Is my penguin gonna get stunned? I'm gonna give him this augment, and so on. And before I finish this sentence, everything has died on the side of the red team. It didn't take much for the slash into almost do 20,000 damage again, and it feels like Exodia has arrived here for I'm a Fishy.
And this team, of course, still very strong if left uncontested. It's weird seeing rogues not being fought for, even though there was like 3 rogue weapons at one point here in this game, but everybody went for different options. And where did we lose some people? We did lose Fancy Pants. They were leading this lobby. Now they're out of here in 7th. That's actually extremely devastating, that Berserker style with a bunch of air and dust. And the extremely early Jotun will end up falling. And unfortunately here for Squawk, the struggles do seem to continue. Pour out a cold one for us nonetheless, and I hope you still had a fantastic time regardless of what the results ends up being. You made the top 16. That's still a hell of an accomplishment. I hope you're still proud of yourself with that one, because you absolutely should be. But here we go. I'm a Fishy, Zico Perico, elimination time.
Yes, sir. And both of them still fighting for a spot in the grand finals. The unit to watch here in the backline is going to be the Umber, taking his first victim down. Here comes a stun, though, from the Lulura. So that's going to disrupt the Umber in a huge way, but it is untargetable. The units don't mind. They stick around, wait it out, and finish it off in the end. And that's going to be it for Detective Airline, for Zico Perico, and we're down to our top 4.
All right, Hasu, you weren't giving yourself enough credit, mate. You're leading this one right when it counts. Currently 4th in this lobby. By sitting into the top 4, they've given themselves their best possible opportunity. But of course, you still have Furies right there also trying to chew through, hanging on with 6 HP still. Yes, they've got that beautiful rogue composition here with the Vanguards, but we've seen it's not impenetrable. It's not just roll your face on the keyboard and find victories. That patch was long ago. Thankfully, we're not there anymore. But we can still see if Furies can bump up a few more points here, maybe it'll be them. So Hasu, as much as they're still in the lead of this game, they cannot get comfortable.
Yes, sirs. Both Furies and Hasu have a decent chance to get into the grand finals at this point. What Furies needs is more than Hasu. Furies is 1 point down right now, so he needs at least 1 placement over Hasu. And then Detective Airline is exactly 3 points over Hasu, which means Detective Airline is not safe yet and is now watching probably the stream and fearing for their tournament life. If Hasu makes first place and Furies second place, well, I'm not going to do all the math, but everything is still up for grabs. The grand final spots, except for Slicks and I'm a Fishy, they are already through. So we're going to see now, Furies, can he make it one more round, or is Slicks going to get the better of him?
There's a lot of firepower here, though, coming out here from the side of Slicks, but one big thing that came on through was a Familiar that just got a fantastic shot on that entire group. And of course, that is an Omega Power debuff that it gives to everybody. Slash and able to get the finishing blow onto the Snake. Now it's just a matter of dealing with that little Poodle Moth, and there we go. Fury is going to take another one. Slicks, I mean, they're already set pretty good. They won 2 games in a row. They're going to be able to get that one. I'm a Fishy goes down as well. The Mud has been stopped with 40 credits still in the bank. That definitely hurts. They were not expecting to lose that in the slightest. They're going to end up going down, which means Hasu, Furies, 2 of the players on that bubble for the top 4 in the top. And with 1 Scoriox going down, a big roll from Hasu, they just got the Scoriox for themselves.
Oh my god, this is what counts here. This is what matters. Yeah, we're gonna check out the scores afterwards, but every single thing matters right here. Depending on how this turns out, we're gonna have our top 4 shaken up, and those players now have the chance to get into the grand finals tomorrow to play for $15,000 for the first prize. Let's see how it goes. Who's gonna take this match right here?
All right, the Slash, and as of right now, Eliso is able to skip past the Titanor. I think it's looking at the Ranger as of this moment, but it's still pretty slow in regards to damage. It has that Super Surger online. Ramp Fight didn't even look like it did a damn thing, to be completely honest with you. It is going to end up falling. Scoriox completely untouched as of this moment, and it's shooting very, very quickly. And the longer this goes, that's going to get even crazier. I do think the Phase Breaker onto that Slash and was used. Now it's going to be targeted. It's going to be bursted down. And with that, Hasu will be able to pull on through in a game where they needed it most to qualify. They leave no die or in no T uncrossed. They do it in a perfect scenario, winning our final game here of today.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. So I think if Furies would have won this, Furies and Hasso would have made it into the grand finals.
Right.
But Furies' second place makes it so Detective Airline outperforms him, and Furies will not make it into the grand finals. So it came all down to the last match. We're gonna confirm all of this in a second. But before we do that, we're gonna quickly see if the second game is still going and see if we can catch some more of the action over there. Because this is our final match of the semifinals. Tomorrow, the grand finals are gonna be happening same time as we started today, 1 p.m. UTC. That is the time zone, that's the place to be, and it's gonna be incredible. We're gonna have a checkmate format, meaning all 8 players are gonna play until
Love that.
Someone has 19 points, and once you have 19 points, you need another victory to win the tournament. It makes for such great viewing experience. Lobby not found, that means the other lobbies finished as well, and we're gonna check out our scores in just a second.
That works out. But that was an exciting way to end it there. And to somebody who did not necessarily have the confidence, it looked like, at least in the chat, either it was a major league bluff, which then good on you, but if you genuinely did not have the confidence there, well, I tell you what, you and the Illuvials just pulled on through together right when it mattered most to get into that qualifier here today. Of course, unofficially, we'll get the exact scores in just a couple of moments. We'll get the confirmation shortly, but you set yourself up for success, and that's absolutely awesome.
Yes, sir. While we wait for the scores, I want to give a quick shout out, obviously, most and importantly, to the Illuvium team making this great game happening. And also shout out to Motorverse for this collaboration, and to Automobili Lamborghini. It has been a blast, this Illuvitar collection, this tournament so far. And yeah, it has just been amazing. So I cannot wait for the grand finals tomorrow. It's going to be so exciting. We're going to have at least 5-6 games tomorrow, so similar length for than today, but one lobby, so much more immersion into the storylines of our players, and it's gonna be great.
Heck, even today was just super exciting, but what I'm looking forward to tomorrow is it does seem like it's an anybody can win kind of scenario. There is no like major like dominating force, so to speak. The closest we got was Slicks winning 2 games in a row. But then, like we saw in the last game, like they could still fall out in 4th or something along those lines. So there's nobody that stands in the competition as it stands right now, at least anyway, that is just that vastly or that much stronger than everybody else or superior. So it's all down to strategy. It's all down to positioning, finding what you need to at the right time, and just damn good Illuvium. And that's what I love to see.
Yes, sir. Spoon39 says, thanks for casting Silent and Pass. Couldn't watch it, but sure watch it later after dinner. Do we have a second
awesome.
Spoon here? I don't think it's Dr. Spoon.
No, that's Doc. That's Doc.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got 2 of them. Love to see it. Yeah, we're filling in the scores right now. Let's quickly talk about the things that we know already. Slicks, congratulations. Moves on with first, and 4th place. Yeah. Which is incredible, by far the biggest score. Then Hollow had 14 points, 2 second places going into this first game. Also already by default qualified for tomorrow. So Hollow, congratulations to you as well, or Hologini. I love the little play there. Let's also talk about I'm a Fishy pulling through here in the end. That was amazing. His team was absolutely incredible. I thought it would win the last game, but it didn't in the end.
There were certain moments where it looked like the dominating force, but that's what I was talking about. Mud is very good, but it's still very hard to pilot. It's not a guarantee anymore like it used to be. And it's especially the different spin on it, where it was the rogue variant instead of the brawler variant. I love to see it. It did very well, but not as crazy as before.
Yeah. What was your favorite deck to watch today? Your favorite team composition?
Yeah, I was happy to actually see some Scions winning something in that one game a couple of games ago here. Even though it wasn't Invoker, it's not my tried and true composition. I still did like the fact that the Mammoth got like a ton of usage here. Seeing the Sinolf coming in clutch alongside even Duelef potentially as well. I can't remember exactly who piloted it, but it was like a game or 2 ago. That was definitely my fun one. my personal favorite builds, of course, Invoker and then Shock, but of course, both of them very hard to play, if I were to put it nicely right now. But it was still fun watching everything today.
Yeah, Shock.
How about yourself?
You remember, I have something in my mind where in IPL we had like Shock, and it was like it won like one tournament or one match, and we're like, yes, Shock is in the meta, and then he got nerfed in the next match. It was so sad.
Well, that was also pre ownership, right? So
Yeah.
it was a little bit easier to balance that way. And of course, just one good game immediately sends it down the tubes. And even right now, Shock currently does not do percent health damage. It's just a flat rate. So it tickles everybody. It doesn't actually do any sort of major impact. So yeah, I'm a little sad in that regard. Both of my teams are a little bit rough right now.
I think my
seeing
favorite,
everybody performing while their teams here is awesome.
Yeah. I think my favorite was watching TF Toddy like almost take it, and just seeing the mud here.
Close.
The mud in the end, it just revived some good feeling inside of me from playing mud, and it's really satisfying to see Gorilla jump around and one-shot everything. It's a fun combination to play. We see Nareba here ask in the chat, what is the tiebreak? And we're getting into this right now. Here we have the final scores.
I see why.
And Nareba, you win the tiebreaker. We're going to see you tomorrow in the grand finals. Congratulations. I think it's like last game's performance, and Nareba won his last game, which brought him to the tiebreaker and let him win the tiebreaker. So congratulations there. That is huge.
I was going to say, whether it was last finish or best finish, either way they would have got it.
Yeah, exactly. Overall, great performance, tiebreaker-wise. Well, I'll do Group A. Congratulations, Holo, Sota, Dr. Spoon, and Nareba.
Yeah, the three of them technically winning the game or winning the lobby. All of them at 17. That's kind of funny to see.
Yeah.
And of course, with Group B, we did see Slicks on an absolute tear in those first two. Leads this lobby by a significant margin. Meanwhile, I'm a Fishy moving on with 18 points. Hasu with that big win actually takes third, moving on with 16. And then Ole's Detective Alan, that was enough. They were able to get on through by 1 point and make it into the finals for tomorrow, with Zico Perico barely on the outside looking in. Fancy Pants, Furies, and Squawk all on the outside looking in, unfortunately, here this time by. But a valiant effort with everybody in this lobby, of course, or with both lobbies. It was a fantastic day.
Yeah, I think we have a little mistake here where Furies, I think, placed second, so that would be 7 points. And I guess then Zico Perico would be on 3 points, but it does not change anything. They just change position under themselves, but they stay on 5th place. So
right,
yeah,
we still be on the outside looking in, right?
Yeah, we're gonna double check it all, but I'm pretty sure top 4 are locked in. So congratulations to this. I want to say good for Fox Spirit to make second place and have a final epic battle versus Nareba. I know these two guys have been like rivals against each other, so it must have been a cool final match where Nareba was actually fighting for his first place and getting into the finals, and Fox Spirit was fighting for his honor, where he shows, hey, I got it. I just had some unlucky games the first 2 rounds. And yeah, congratulations to all the top 16 players here. $750 goes to you. Definitely huge prize pool here, and great performing, especially because it was such a competitive tournament until here already.
All right, so who's your pick for tomorrow?
My pick for tomorrow, all right, let's get into it. Civilizationalis is asking why Nareba wins the tiebreaker, because I have to look it up. We have it written in the rule set, but it's either last game's performance or best performance overall, which both tiebreakers he would win with that last game win. So yeah, it is by a landslide that he wins the tiebreaker, not even close. So yeah, congrats to him. And it makes sense, right? It's not like some random coin flip tiebreaker. Like if you actually manage to pull off a win, that is a huge indicator for your actual strength. So I'm glad the tiebreaker worked well here. But yeah, sorry to see Aroldo kind of choking here in the last game and getting nuked out.
Yeah, that one definitely hurts. That was a 7th that knocked them out of there. Oof.
Yeah. Yep. So my pick for tomorrow. Slicks. It feels like Slicks would be too easy. I want to go with Ama Fishy. I think he was our first IPL 1000 winner. He's pretty young, I think, like early 20s. Such a nice kid, and really I remember him fondly, really happy, and I wish him all the luck. And he's gonna be my pick for tomorrow.
All right, and I've got mine already locked in here. So no pressure, Dr. Spoon. Let's see this. Of the people that are still here in the tournament, the player that, regardless of rewards, regardless of tournaments, regardless if there is anything to actually fight for in Illuvium, you'd see them in ranked over every single time. I know every time that I would stream, I'd say, okay, where's my daily check-in with the doc? Because I would find them every single time when I'm queuing up while I'm streaming. And they are still here in this one, placing very nicely, essentially tying to win that lobby. And I know I had touched on before, but they're essentially, I believe, either taking a extended break or something sometime after this tournament. As a longtime community member and as somebody who has seen them grinding the hard way through this. This isn't a bot team. This is their team from Overworld 0 and beyond, not just picked up off the Illuvidex, which again, I'm not knocking anybody who does. That is an option. That's the beauty of Web3. But there's something special about your team being homegrown, and Doc has the last one of those, I believe, left in this tournament. For the sake of the grinders out there, for all the players that give about the entire system, it's all on Doc now. I want to see him get it.
Hey, that's if that doesn't motivate you for tomorrow, I don't know what does. It's awesome to see. I totally agree with you, and I wish him all the best of luck too. He's gonna come in second after I'm a Fishy, so that's still gonna be really nice for him.
That's be an awesome story. I'd love to see him do well no matter.
We'll see. I love that we have our picks locked in. Maybe we find something to put on the line for it, but that's gonna be for tomorrow. The grand finals, top 8, gonna battle it out. We have our top 8 today, and tomorrow they're gonna battle in a checkmate 19-point format. It's gonna be freaking amazing. I cannot wait for it. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. I hope we see you tomorrow. Bring your parents, your grandmother. That's gonna be a show of a lifetime. We cannot wait to experience it together with you. 1 p.m. UTC tomorrow, grand finals, $50,000 prize pool in the Motorverse Cup. And until then, I wish you all a wonderful night, all the contestants a good night of sleep, and we'll see you tomorrow.